The oil spill by BP has left eyeballs all over the sea. So don't go swimming down in the south unless you want tar balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Swim in the ocean, you'll have balls in your mouth. Go ahead! Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth.
What's up? Boochcast fans, listeners across the internet, radio waves. This is Vinny Bucci, aka the Booch, and this is that time again, once again, yet again for the Boochcast. What's up, everybody? It is Thursday, August the 4th, 2016. It is high noon on Throwback Thursday. That's right. That special day of the week where you pop in the old home movies, dig through the old photo albums, and take a special look back at yesteryear. And we got one hell of a great show planned for today. Now, of course, the Throwback edition, that'll happen a little later on in the show today. We'll save that for towards the end. But we definitely have a lot of fun things to talk about. I have a fabulous guest that is in the studio with me. We're going to get to her in just a moment. But before we do, I do have a couple topics I need to get into, a few things I need to get off my chest, because you guys know me. If I'm not ranting at the top of this show, I'm way too happy. And it's one of those it's one of those things where it's like, look, I want to be happy, and lately I've been very happy. I've had a lot of blessings come my way, but it wouldn't be the Boochcast if I wasn't at least pissed off about something. It's like it's become mandatory for me to be pissed off at something at the top of the show, or even just slightly irritated for that matter. And I did have one aspect that was really pissing me off, and it was detrimental to the show. I mean, today's show would have happened regardless, but it would have determined whether or not there would have been shows after this, or if I would have had to take a hiatus or whatever. But basically, here's what happened. With Blog Talk Radio, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. And I was dealing with a audio issue, as I've often done on this show when Blog Talk Radio goes on the fritz. And only this one was a little bit different. For some reason, whenever I would delete audio from the show, for some reason, it would show up in the audio clip section that I deleted it. But I would go to the studio, the switchboard, and everything would still be there. It's like if I uploaded, it's like once I uploaded it, I couldn't delete it. And then yesterday, late last night, while I was getting everything ready, I found out it wouldn't let me upload. It started to get to a point where it wouldn't let me upload anything either. So I sent a letter to Blog Talk, got Sherry on the phone. God knows I drive that woman crazy with technical problems. I mean, I'm surprised she doesn't have me on speed dial at this point. And we finally sit down. I tell her, look, I got this issue with this audio. What am I going to do? I want this audio deleted. Because, as you guys know, when I'm done playing an audio clip, I delete it because I don't want it clogging up my audio feed. I got enough bells and whistles up here as it is. So, you know, I like to get it out of the way once I'm done playing it because I have no desire to play it again, unless it's a crazy sound effect, in which case I want it to stay up here for as long as I can have it. And I talked to Sherry. She said, don't worry. She said, don't worry, Booch. I got the engineers on this. We're going to fix it all up. And I'm sitting here I was sitting here last night contemplating, am I going to have to take a hiatus? Am I going to have to walk away for a bit? Because if I can't upload any audio, how am I going to, you know, properly tell my stories? Otherwise it would just be me talking for an hour, then the second hour would be me playing all of Desmond's music, because that's all I've got up here. I can't put new music up here. I can't do anything. What am I going to do? And I was worried how it was going to affect even the show today, but luckily, at the midnight hour, Sherry came through, fixed everything. I was able to get my audio clips up here for the wrestling recap that'll happen during the second hour, and I was able to get everything I needed completely done. So shout out to Sherry and Blog Talk Radio for coming through for me at the last possible moment. And this happened to me like throughout the last couple of days, so I kind of need to blow off some steam. So I pretty much had to run errands to the bank and everything, and then just for the hell of it, I spent a good portion of yesterday catching Pokemon at a Baptist church, which is a true story, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. As you guys know, I've recently gotten into Pokemon Go after all the peer pressure that I've been getting from Desmond, from Jamie, from Conrad, from my brother, to everybody I've met, even my friend Kristen at the Home Depot. They're all telling me, you got to play Pokemon Go. Now, here's the thing, guys. The whole purpose of Pokemon Go is that you have to actually get up and go. Here's the problem I have with Pokemon Go. I rarely have anywhere I need to go. I really don't. Like, basically, this is what I do. I'm either here in this studio, I'm at a comedy club, I'm somewhere else, and they tell you can't do Pokemon Go while you're driving. Well, the only time I'm moving around is when I'm driving. That's really it. So how am I supposed to play this game? I usually just have it sit on my lap and everything else. So, well, they have these things called Pokestops, those you don't know. And they're random places that Pokemon Go has decided to put Pokestop. And for some reason, the closest Pokestop to my house is the Baptist church around the corner. So I realized when I drove up there, there's like 9 or 10 cars in this parking lot. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a Wednesday. Unless the church does something on Wednesday that I'm not aware of, I'm assuming everyone's going to play Pokemon Go. So I pretty much sat in the parking lot. I grabbed one of those lure things supposed to lure people. And for 30 minutes, I just sat in the car and just started catching Pokemon for 30 minutes. I caught about 30 Pokemon in one sitting. I just sat there for a half hour just to kind of calm myself down. And I caught a variety. And I found out that when you use this thing, you can catch, like it draws all the Pokemon to, almost all the Pokemon to where you are for 30 solid minutes. You got to stay in one spot when you got this thing. So I'm in this church parking lot, and I'm like screaming like, I never thought I'd be in a church parking lot saying, fuck, I missed. God damn it, I missed. Shit, what the hell? So, sorry, we get frustrated when we play video games. What do you expect from me? I don't know what you want. But anyway, managed to get that out of the way. I caught a couple of guys. I got basically the rarest Pokemon that I caught yesterday was an Abra and what was the name of that other one? Oh, yeah, Clefairy. I got that one too. And then, of course, after that, I got home, and after getting all the episodes and everything aired up, I spent the rest of the night doing something, just cleaning the house like a crazy person. I've been vacuuming. I've been cleaning. I had to take care of the kitchen, do everything. And here's the thing. I admit, as a guy, we don't normally do this. I'm not much of a cleaning kind of person. I'm the type of guy who's just like, I could sit in a trashy room and not care if it's my mess. But I had to clean it up for one reason and one reason only, and that is because, as I said before, I have a special guest in the studio today. And I did not want her to see the house the way it normally is when there's no guests in the studio. So you got to clean it up as much as possible. And that's exactly what I did. And ladies and gentlemen, I do have a guest in the studio right now. She is a comedian. She is a website designer. She was a former regular at Jerry Farber's Side Door, and probably one of the most unique people I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm very excited to have her on the show. You can catch her in the latest movie, No Lips, No Teeth, Part 3, on movieinternetchannel.yellowsite.com and the Movie Internet Channel TV channels. You guys know this is the movie starring Derek Shapiro. I did a wonderful scene with her. We're going to talk all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Boochcast the very funny Atlanta comedian, Spacey Christina.
Hello. I'm Spacey Christina, and you can find me on eBay, but the shipping's free, the handling's not.
I'll keep that in mind. Okay. How much is the handling? Exactly.
It's negotiable.
Negotiable. All right. It's gonna need to be negotiable. The Boochcast is self-funded. I don't have, so I'm a little low on cash. So we'll have to definitely work that out. But absolutely. So absolutely, Spacey. First of all, let me just say thank you so much for coming to the studio today. I'm really glad that you had the time to come on here and definitely, talk to the audience and get a little insight, because, the thing is, I've seen you a lot. We've seen each other in passing in a lot of comedy clubs. We've talked here and there, but I've never really had a chance to really sit down and talk to you. And, Spacey and I were downstairs talking, before the show, and, and first of all, let me just say, thank you for bringing those muffins. The blueberry one was definitely delicious.
Awesome. They always say, if you want to get on a man's good side, you have to cook for him, right?
Yeah. Yes. See, I really hope my ex-girlfriends are listening to this right now. Okay. She just scored cool points with me, and we haven't even slept together. Well, not yet. But anyway, I'm kidding. But anyway, I guess as I mentioned before, you did do a lot of comedy around the scene. How'd you get started into stand-up comedy?
Well, I actually have a day job where I work for the federal government, and we were on furlough a few years ago, and I was out of work. Just all of a sudden one day they woke up and decided we didn't have to go to work. So I said, okay, I met this guy, Adam Ginsberg, when this eBay conference, and started this eBay business, and I'm creating puppets that I make that look like other people, custom made puppets. I made one for Strongman in Utah, Russell Anderson. I've made stuff for Renaissance Festival podcast, a lot of different ones. And I said, well, I'm doing these videos on eBay for my puppets, but I need to learn how to write. I need to learn how to perform better. So Jerry, I had met him 30 some odd years ago at a PBS broadcast. I was on the video crew there. I said, well, if anybody can teach me, I'm a technology junkie, how to be funny, it's got to be Jerry. So I went to his club and reacquainted myself with him, and that's how all that started.
Awesome. So you said that you used to have a job for the federal government?
Yes.
What did you do for the federal government? If unless it's some kind of classified stuff.
It's not classified. I was just a helper for blind lady, a personal assistant, kind of like a secretary kind of deal. And she works in human resources training. So we arranged for people to have what they needed, to learn what they needed to learn to be able to do their jobs. Yeah.
Are you still? Because I remember you talked about the blind lady. I think when I first met you. You still assisting her today?
I still live with her, and she's retired now from the federal government, and she likes to travel a lot, and she goes to these meetings where people just get together and debate stuff. And she takes computer classes and iPhone classes. She knows how to Uber.
Okay. So did you meet so and you also said that you're helping blind people, something you did as a profession. Is that where you met? Because I remember, because one of the things that I used to remember from Jerry Farber's Side Door is you would go on stage, you had your set that you did, you had your act, but you also would help out. You would be like I would say hype woman. I almost said hype man. I might have to stop myself. You were a hype woman for this guy. I can never remember his name, and I feel terrible that I can't, because I just don't see him enough. Here's the thing about me. I'm good with faces, but I'm terrible with names. See, I'm sure like the first couple of times I met you, I may have forgotten your name until like the 5th time, and then finally it registered in my head. But there was this the blind guy that did the math in his head.
Yes.
Was he somebody you met through that job, or was he just a friend that you bumped into?
Actually, EHAB, that's rehab without the R. EHAB is a childhood friend of Josh Harris. And Josh Harris is actually one of the #1 iTunes comedy song persons. Right now, he's getting ready to go to, he's moving to LA. And EHAB is his childhood friend. And EHAB lives right down the street. He walks himself with his little white cane up the street from his apartment to Jerry Farber's side door at the time. He's now doing his thing at Punchline on Sunday nights when they do their Joke Writers showcase.
Awesome. Okay, because I did not know that he and Josh were childhood friends.
Yes.
I'm definitely gonna remember that for when I try to get Josh on the show. So my goal is to get him on the show before he leaves for LA. So I'm definitely gonna remember that. Mm-hmm. And of course I got to talk about this. How did you get into making custom puppets?
I raised my kids on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and we had to make pretty much anything that we were doing. I mean, I could have gone to the store. It's just so much more fun just to make it up. My mom always says, if you want to give somebody a gift, it's always more special if you make it yourself.
Oh, that's very true. You know, because it shows that you put time and effort into making the other person happy. So what kind of puppets did you make?
These are puppets that are open mouth puppets. You put your hand in there, they have a mouth that opens and closes. And I chose to go with puppets instead of dolls because puppets are for comedy. Puppets get to say stuff.
Yeah.
Meaningful, deep and meaningful stuff.
What kind of deep and meaningful stuff have you heard puppets say?
Well, I don't actually use the puppets in my act, but I give them to other people that do, and I really don't pay that much attention.
It's like, look, I just make the puppets, you do the act. I'm just gonna go, hey, I get paid to make them, not to listen. I like that. Yeah. So you've never once thought about and I say this because I know for the most part you have a bit of a variety personality to your act. I've seen you do straight stand-up, which is great. I've seen you do the thing where you throw the puppies into the audience. I think that's really funny. You know, you seem to be someone who's a versatile performer, and we'll talk more about what I mean, more about other stuff you've done in a second. So you never thought about incorporating the puppets into your act?
Well, I have not. And the reason is because, well, did we tell everybody that people call me Spacey?
Well, I just said that your name was Spacey Christina.
Yeah,
so
Spacey.
I mentioned that is your name.
Spacey not only is my name, but occasionally I do feel Spacey, and I'm afraid I'll forget the puppets when I need them on a show.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. I didn't think of that, you know. So yeah, I forgot why that's why you call you Spacey, because you space out from time to time. It's a great idea. I just wanted to see, because I feel like, you know, other than Jeff Dunham or a ventriloquist, I've never really seen a lot of people go on stage with actual puppets. And I know you do a Mr. Bill thing in your set.
Yes, I haven't done that one in a while. I'll have to get him out of the box.
Yeah.
But the puppets are really better for video, I think, because they're so small. If you want a big enough puppet people can see from the back of a 100-seat venue, you really have to spend some money.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and before, when I was saying that that Spacey's a versatile performer, it's because while I was doing research for the show, I found out some interesting things. I know that in addition to stand-up, you've also done a few burlesque shows that you've been a part of. It's on your Facebook page, so it's not like I didn't call your old job and tell the federal government to go dig in deep. I found this right on Facebook, so I assumed it was safe to talk about. How often do you perform in burlesque shows?
I did the burlesque at Jerry Farber's side door. The lady Kitty Love has the Kitty Love Goddess College. And so I wanted to learn how to be more ladylike, and I studied with the Goddess College, and She said she thought I should be on the show. And the first time she asked me to host the show, and I did. And it seemed like a lot of fun. They were doing it at Jerry's Place. I was at every single show at Jerry's Place anyway. So I decided to get into it. Pretty much everybody that's in burlesque makes a lot of their own costumes. And as a sewer person, I figured I could sew up something just as good as anybody else, and I would go for it.
Yeah. So have you had any, how would you say overall the burlesque shows go? Are they do you have a better time doing the burlesque show or a better time doing the stand up?
The burlesque, and a lot of people think I'm funnier when I don't speak. And in burlesque, the dancers don't actually speak. I enjoyed doing that because it allowed me to sort of have more of a consciousness of what people are looking at when they're seeing me as I do stand up. So I became more conscious of my body language and behavior on stage and off stage. But I really prefer the stand up because Jerry always tells us, if you're going to stand up, you better have something to say.
Mhm.
And I always wanted to have something to say, something worth listening to.
Absolutely, because I learned that because I remember at the Laughing Skull. I don't know if you've ever performed. Have you been in the Skull?
I have not. I'm saving that one for later.
All right. Well, on their wall, I know they have this poster called the Bill Hicks Principles of Comedy, and it's like basically Bill Hicks giving his advice on how to do comedy. And one of the key things that he writes in there is if you can't be funny, be interesting. He said you haven't lost the audience. So, and the thing is, I've seen you be both. Sometimes I've seen you be funny. Sometimes I've just seen you be interesting. Other times I've seen you do both. So you definitely one thing I've always known is that you always had something to say when you got up there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So how did you become a regular at Jerry's Farber's Side Door? Like I know you said you got reacquainted with Jerry, you met him, but you're one of the few people that's literally because that gets a spot like every single week. How did you get like a regular gig there?
Well, it was go up and show up, and I turned on the lights on the stage. I was the first one there. I don't know. When I was a martial artist, I used to stand on the stage and call out the names for people to line up for black belt testing when they were doing the testing to get their new belts. I just somehow always think it's cool to help out, and
Yeah.
I always want to support things that I believe in and people that I think have something to give, something that's worth giving.
Yeah. So basically, you just beat us all to the club. That's how you got. That's how you got the
I
regular
was
spot.
just the first one that came in the club.
So I could have been a regular if I just got up earlier.
Yeah, you just had to show up and go up.
I just had to take that afternoon nap. Ugh. I knew they'd come back to haunt me eventually. But that's awesome, and I remember because you were one of the most popular. You were definitely a popular act at Farber's, and I learned that the hard way. Because at the time, I'll tell you guys a story. We were doing a roast for Jerry Farber, and the thing about me is, anytime over the last couple of weeks leading up to that roast, anytime a roast had been involved in Atlanta, people would call me and say, "Booch, you got to be a part of this," because when I did the roast for the regular guys, I knocked it out of the park. And then a few weeks before Farber's roast, Jamie Ward, he had a roast at the Atlanta Comedy Theater, and I just took everybody down there. Like,
yes.
They were all in a state of shock. So they told me, Farber's doing a roast, Booch, you got to go up. So I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to write stuff down. I'm trying to go for everybody. And I knew you, like I said, I knew you were a regular there. So I'm like, I can't do a roast for Jerry Farber and not include Spacey. And I had to. And the thing is this, I want to preface this by saying, when I did the roast, obviously, I had no malicious intent behind the roast. It's the whole point of a roast is to ball bust everybody in the room. That's essentially what it is. It's the goal is to make fun of people. Just don't go to the extreme where, wow, that guy's a jerk. Just do it where it's funny enough. And when I wrote my joke at the time, I'd only seen this perform at Farber's. I'd been to other clubs and never seen you there. So that's why I wrote the joke the way that I did. When I said that, Spacey's here and she's really upset because this is the last time she'll ever be performing in a comedy show ever. It was not a knock on your material. It was a knock on the fact that I'd never seen you perform in any other club. So I thought when Farber's closed down, you're not going to perform anymore. Because I didn't know you would be at the Atlanta Comedy Theater and doing all this other stuff. And like I said, I've seen you evolve as a performer. And I'm happy to see you've gotten significantly better. I was just telling you about that earlier. So that's when I came up with the joke. And then you always closed every time you got off stage. And you still do it today. Was you always told people you can find me on eBay, Amazon, and Facebook.
Right.
So I'm like, if that's something she says on a regular basis, and that's why I tapped into that, and the joke was harmless, really. All I said was, you can find her on eBay. She sells her services to the highest bidder. I said, because you always wore the provocative burlesque outfit. So I'm trying to tap into everything. And here's the thing. I thought it would get a laugh. I really did. And you kind of laughed a little bit. But I remember sitting in the back, and I'm saying this to let you guys know how popular Spacey was at Farber's, because I ripped on everybody else. They bust out laughing when I destroyed everybody else. The second I joked on Spacey, oh, you would have thought I had sold nuclear weapons to North Korea at that point. Oh my God. I didn't get a smile out of that crowd. There was one lady in the audience that looked at me like I just shot her kid. Like it was the craziest feeling I ever got. And here's the thing. The joke bombed so horribly. I remember I came up to you and I was like, I was so apologetic to Spacey because I felt bad. Because I literally thought people would get that I was joking. I felt so horrible. But then you told me, but luckily for me, you weren't offended. And that meant the most to me.
Well, I understand how things go.
Yeah.
And that it was part of the show. People buy tickets. It's a show.
Yeah. But yeah, so you got the joke. I remember I was hugging Spacey like crazy. Like, I'm so sorry because like so many people just stared at me like, okay, do they not know I'm kidding? Like this whole thing, I said, and then I did and then I said, I think the rest of the joke was I said, and then I said, you can find her on Amazon where she writes a book on how to make an audience uncomfortable. And then I said, and then the last part was, and then you can find her on Facebook where you'll be constantly reminded that you can find her on eBay and Amazon. So that was the punchline to the joke. And I literally thought that would get a laugh. I really did. Cause I just felt so bad. Like, good. But like I said, I'm illustrating the point that that's how popular you were, that I committed a sacrilege when I dared to roast you. And I did it out of love because I really do like Spacey. That's why I have her on the show. That's why I really do. Like, because I just because, for some of the fact that I've seen you get better as a stand-up, but also you're one of the few people in the Atlanta comedy scene that's legitimately nice to everyone.
I like hugging people. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Like, you're legitimately nice. There are some people, and I said, most people, there are some people, you're one of the few people in the Atlanta comedy scene that I have nothing negative to say about. Like, like I said, I wrote that joke. It wasn't like something that I thought for days and weeks and months on end. I had to literally come up with, okay, how do I roast Spacey? Because I don't know how, because she's so sweet. I think that's probably why it didn't work, because you're just such a nice person. Like, people are thinking, how can anybody say anything bad? But I'm like, my thought process was not to insult Spacey, but the fact that this is the last show of Farber's Side Door. These doors are closing. Spacey whether you like her or not, is a staple in Jerry Farber's Side Door. I can't not include her. I could not put you in this act. So I thought, okay, this is what's the most harmless joke I can come up with. Here it is. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. That was the one joke that completely blew up my face. Like, it was saying, the other comics laughed, but the paying audience, oh Lord.
We had some people there that were there for the music. They weren't really into comedy, I don't think. They just didn't get it.
Well, that makes me feel better then. I feel better then, because I literally was on stage Wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Well, see, Jerry's a musician. Jerry
Yes.
Farber. We're talking about Jerry Farber.
Mhm.
And he's a musician. The first time I saw him, he was playing classical music on a really huge stage on the largest grand piano I'd ever seen. And he plays his little thing. He's playing from the heart. We're doing close ups on the stage with the handheld camera. He stands up to take his bow, and his shirt rolls all the way up to his chin. He's playing with his nipples. It was so amazing. I'd never seen comedy like that ever.
Wait. Farber did this?
Farber did that.
Oh
He
my, wait a minute.
still shows his nippies every chance he gets. Even at his age. He's 77 years old, 78 years old now.
Wait, the guy who gets on comics for being vulgar rolls up his shirt and plays with his...
Well, it was one of those Charlie Chaplin shirts. It looked like it was an accident.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't a vulgar thing.
Okay, that's different then. Okay, see, I didn't know that. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But I'm like, I literally was like, that's what I would expect Jerry Truman to do, not Jerry Farber. I'm like, Farber did this. That's cool.
Well, that's how he got in the business. He was playing the piano for the strippers at the Claremont. They didn't have DJs. They just had Jerry.
So Jerry would play. Wait, Jerry's playing the piano while the strippers are dancing.
Yes, that was how he got in the business, and a little comic relief during all that, I'm sure, was helpful.
Well, at least Jerry got to work with people his own age, so there was an advantage. Jerry, I'm totally kidding, Jerry. I'm just messing around, but yeah, you mentioned before that you made your own, you sewed your own like costumes. Like, did you? I know that you also, you sell puppets, but I also heard there's other things that you sell, like clothes as well.
I have some. I actually have a secret eBay that I don't talk about much called Burlesque Space.
Okay.
And I don't work it as much as I used to, but a lot of people after the shows want to find out where I got my corset. Plus size women just think it's cool to be beautiful and dress beautifully in beautiful clothes, and I don't mind helping out with that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true. Like, and the thing is, if the clothes look nice enough, plus size women can look great in clothes. I'm never been one of those guys that's judged a woman for being plus size at all. So I always thought that, in the right outfit, anybody can look great. And I think that it's awesome that you make those clothes. Is there any other props that you sell besides that?
Just the puppets.
Okay. Cool.
And anything that comes out of my closet that's vintage, I'll have that on there too. So I just sold a music box the other day with a unicorn on it. That was kind of cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like silver. I like silver. So anything that anybody has that's silver you want to get rid of, I'll be glad to put it on eBay for you.
Absolutely. Now, wait. So you sell things for other people on eBay too?
I don't mind doing that. I mean, if they're gonna take it to Goodwill, I'll just put it on eBay instead. They're getting rid of it. One man's trash is my treasure.
So basically, you would have them just give it to you, and then you would sell it.
Right.
Cool. Hey, quickest way to make cash I've ever seen.
Sure. I sold a fur coat to somebody in Australia not too long ago. It was several $100s. 20% of that is not a bad price for dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. So what? And it was an actual fur. It wasn't like one of those fake furs. It was a real fur coat.
Real fur. Not too many people I know want real fur, so I had to sell it to somebody in Australia.
How'd you get away with it in the wintertime?
Well, it's in Australia. It is wintertime. They have opposite seasons.
Oh, no. I meant like when you owned the coat.
Oh, I didn't own it. It wasn't mine.
Oh, never mind that. Okay. I thought it was your fur coat that you were selling on eBay.
No,
I'm sorry.
It was a gift to my housemate, the blind lady. I've never seen her wear it either. She just pulled it out of the closet one day and said, "We should sell this."
Okay. Because that was gonna be my first question. Like, because I mean, and the thing is, I'm not a PETA person by any stretch of the imagination, but I would be curious to see how someone would wear a real legit like fur coat
and
down
try to be that
and try to walk down the street because people just go nuts over that. Like I used to see like like because those people like from PETA, they walk they'll literally like they throw like you see it for a coat, they flip out, they start throwing stuff, they're like they do that whole fur is murder thing, they'll dump buckets of blood on people. Like it's like if anything, they make whatever I don't even know what cause they fight for anymore. All I know is it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like I remember I watched the movie Down to Earth with Chris Rock and Wanda Sykes. And Wanda Sykes had this nice fur coat on. This woman came up with like a bucket of literally like blood. So like fur is murder and dumped it on there. And then all of a sudden Wanda Sykes just goes, "You want murder? I'll show you murder." And chases her down the streets. And now the woman's like, and the woman and the PETA woman, I look on her face like, "Oh shit, I just made a bad choice."
They're hurting people when they behave that way.
Yeah.
Everybody has the freedom to be who they are and who they want to be. And if somebody buys the coat, that's on them. I don't feel like I'm going to hell because I sold them that coat.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm just saying, like, if you see somebody wearing a jacket, it's like for a coat, it's like, look, I didn't shoot. It's like, look, I didn't shoot the rabbit. I'm just wearing the jacket. You know, It's like, give me a break. All I did, I just paid $100 for the jacket. That's all I did. Like, I didn't actually shoot the damn thing. I don't know how to sew a fur coat. So I just found that interesting. I just found that cool. So, and you mentioned before that you're into martial arts.
I did. I became a martial arts teacher when my children were small. I have 2 girls, and when they were in elementary school, I wanted to get out of the farm a little bit and gain some confidence, and I wanted my children to be able to protect themselves because they were going to school and I was going to miss them very much, and I wanted them also to be able to take care of themselves and be confident women, even at the age of 7, 8, 9. I felt they deserved that, and that's what I wanted to do for them.
Awesome. So how far did you go belt wise?
I was a 1st-degree black belt. I don't know how many people know this, but when you get a black belt, you're just like on probation, and you're not really all the way there yet until you get your first stripe. So I was a 1st-degree black belt. I was on the the Georgia International Demonstration Team for Choi Kwon-do. Choi Kwon-do was they didn't do really big tournaments at the time. We had some sparring during the testing and during the workouts, but I really supported that system so much because they had people with special needs involved with that, and I liked that a lot.
Cool. Well, let me just say I'm glad that I got to know this after I wrote the roast joke, because I probably would have never told it. Like if I known you were martial arts, I would have been like, you know what? She don't need to be in this. That would have scared the hell out of me. Like, oh crap. Like, I'm glad. She spared my life. I thank you for letting me live another couple years. Like, holy crap. That's awesome though. Like 1st-degree black. Like I got up to purple and then I was done.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of energy, and because of that, I got to actually train the people who were above me in rank, because they were running around and following me around, and apparently it was a good workout for them.
Cool. So basically, there's people that have higher degrees of black belt than you, and you're teaching them?
Working them out.
Oh, working them out.
As
okay.
a trainer, yes.
Okay. I was about to say, wow, if you're teaching them, maybe your stripes need to go up a little higher. But
I enjoyed kicking butt, that's for sure. The first time I was sparring with a guy from the Navy, and we were learning how to do that first little basic kick, and I came up on my toes and kicked him a little bit farther across the room than I really wanted to. And it was very surprising because the system is just that powerful.
Damn, like, so you kicked a Navy guy.
Yeah. Well,
was he
expecting it from me?
Okay.
So I wasn't braced for it.
Now, was he a SEAL or just a regular Navy guy?
I think he was a regular Navy guy.
Okay. If you get the Navy SEAL, I would have been like, oh damn. That would have been cool because that would have been cool. Like, wow, that if you like, holy crap, you get the Navy SEAL. That is amazing. So, did you compete in tournaments?
No, we didn't have tournaments, but
Okay.
we had testing events, and I became active in the testing events, calling the names, getting the people lined up, getting everybody organized so they could go through the people, a couple of hundred people. They wanted to go through that and get them done within a reasonable number of hours during the day.
Yeah. Did your kids get into martial arts?
Yes, my oldest kid became a brown belt, so she was really studying to test for her black belt. And then when I went through the divorce, that kind of sort of messed up our upwardly mobileness in that way.
Did you ever actually? I'm not trying to get dark with this or anything, but I was saying, have you ever actually had to use the karate in self-defense at all?
Wow, as a preacher's kid, I really have never wanted to be the offensive person to start a fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And as far as defense, one of the things that we studied as black belts was that if the cops came and we were in a fight, that we would get arrested even if we were doing defense, because we were expected to know better because we were well trained. So I really didn't want to make a big scene like that and really hurt people in that way. So the passive part of defense has always been something that I have better respect for, I think.
Okay. Well, I just meant like if you've ever had to use it to defend yourself, not necessarily to start a fight. Because because I even though I took my dad, because my dad was always the same way. Like my dad, even when I wasn't in karate, my dad was just like, my dad always told me in school, like, look, don't start a fight, but if someone starts one with you, finish it, and I don't care what your punishment is, you won't be in trouble with me. And he said,
Right.
he said, be more. And I said, what about the school? He said, I'm more dangerous than the school. He's like, yeah, they'll give you if you defend yourself and kick a kid's ass in a fight, you'll probably get detention, but I'll take you out for ice cream when I pick you up. That's how my dad was. Yeah. And that was true. One time I got into a fight on a bus, and this guy punched me in the chest, and I just decked him. And it's like I get a harsher punishment for winning the fight, which was kind of funny because I'm like, hey, like it's not my fault. It's not my fault the kid's a pussy. That's what I told the principal, and I got in trouble. It's like, so I got worse of punishment. But as soon as I got home, my dad was like, you won the fight? He goes, yeah. He goes, we're going to Chuck E. Cheese. He told me that. So I served after school detention, did my time because my dad's like, look, all right, just do the crime, go through their bullshit system, and then he took me out to celebrate. I mean, he wasn't happy that I got in a fight. He was just happy that I defended myself in a fight and won. Like my dad didn't want me going to school starting fights at all. So I understand that part completely. So I totally am with you on that. So I just didn't know if you ever actually had to use it to defend yourself. And it is true about the cops, because I had a friend who was a black belt, and he told me that if he got into a fight and if he seriously, if he had used his karate moves and took somebody down, he could actually get arrested for assault with a deadly weapon because he's a black belt.
Right. Well, these are deadly weapons. These hands I'm holding up right here. Yeah. My elbows are really more deadly than my hands. Yeah, really, because I think almost everybody, when they find out you're a martial artist, they want to grab you and see what happens.
Oh, God.
So when people come up behind me and grab me around the neck, of course, my first instinct is to spin around with my elbow where I think their face might be.
It's just it's almost like with the comedian. It's like when you tell them you're a comedian, they want to. It's like when you tell them the comedian, they want to hear a joke. If you're a karate guy, it's like, I got to do this. It's like if you're a wrestler, they ask you, do you guys really get hurt? And they're like, yes. You'd be surprised how many times I've seen that happen. Where I've had like a girlfriend who wasn't a wrestling fan, and then we actually got a chance to meet like a local wrestler that was there, and he would say like, do you guys really get hurt? And I'm just like, I put my head down, and the guy would like look at me, and I would just go, I know, just answer the question. it's like and I look, I know she's being a pain, but don't give me any grief for the car ride home. Just answer the question. And then it's like, and then she would go to the bathroom. I'd just be like, I'm so sorry, and then I would leave. I would just, because he was kind of looking at me like, really, seriously, she's gonna ask me this question. I'm like, I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is definitely out. Now I noticed in addition to comedy and martial arts and a lot of other things that you've done, there was something else I noticed on your page, and it's something that definitely caught my attention because, as most people know, there's a lot of comics lately are getting into like the web TV shows and things like that. Like Dan Glazer does Comics on Parole, and Jordan Jackson had a show briefly for a while. Well, I saw one on your page that really caught my attention, and I got to know, what is the Audio Prism show?
Oh, I love that. Audio Prism is a company that started by a lady named Vanessa Hudley, and she is probably the only full service DJ service female person that does that. She has the full two, what do they call the scratchers, the turntables, and the big whole setup. She does parties, and I've seen her at a lot of different parties at this point in time, from meetup parties, meetup.com. Everybody has parties. So I've seen her do that, and on her show, she likes to have a comedian, another kind of public interest person, and a musician every time she has her show. She wants to have a variety of things. And then, of course, because it's her show, she gets to promote the different places where she has her little DJ show thing too. It's pretty cool. And it's at the same place where Dan Glazer has his show in that particular studio too.
Cool. So is it like a talk show or is it just play music?
It's a talk show and they do a music segment.
Cool. So have you been a regular on the show as well, or?
No, I was on the show once.
Oh, okay.
But I met her because of Jerry Farber.
Okay.
And he was on another show where people did a political debate thing.
Yeah.
So somehow just in studio, switching from one show to another, we met in that way. She does the music on Dan Glazer's show.
Cool.
As well.
I was wondering where that music came from. I've been on Comics on Parole like one time. That's only because like it's on Tuesdays and our schedules are always out of whack. But
right.
I was always intrigued where the music came from. But
well, Daryl Rhodes actually wrote the intro outro for the song, and Vanessa does the segues between the segments.
Yeah, Daryl's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
is.
I've seen him do music. I've seen him do stand up. In fact, the last time I hosted at Bonkers, Daryl was the headliner, so I got to meet him. I've learned that we differ a lot on politics, especially currently. But as a stand up and as a performer, he is amazing.
Yes.
And we definitely respect each other on that level. So I think that's really cool that Daryl wrote the song.
Yes.
That's so cool. I did not know that.
The little cartoon guy even sort of looks like him.
Yeah, I gotta watch the show again to remember that. Like I remember watching it. I watched it like one time when I fast forward to my segment because I wanted to see how it turned out in the editing.
Yeah.
But I gotta get into the habit of watching it from the beginning just so I can see that part again because I did not know that. Yeah. It's so awesome.
Yes.
So are you still a regular on Comics on Parole, or?
He lets me go and promote things whenever I want. It's right at walking distance from where I live. And I go and hang out in the audience as much as I can. I love that. Everybody he has on the show is interesting to me. And anybody that's in the audience, it's a really small studio.
Yeah.
They actually let people go on the show at the end and wave at everybody at the end of the show. So I can do that anytime I
want. That is cool. I love the fact that Dan does that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, one of the key things that Spacey's been involved in is she's in the movie No Lips, No Teeth, Part 3. It's starring Derek Shapiro. This is a movie that he made, and he created the character Chucky Seymour, who has no lips and no teeth and he talks like this. And Don't ask me how he came up with this character. I'm trying to figure it out. And the one thing I love to do whenever somebody works on a Derek Shapiro movie, because Derek had a habit of sending me his friends to promote his movies. So after talking to these guys and realizing that, you know, after like the second time I would interview them, nothing interesting had changed in their lives, I said, Derek, let me pick the people I want to interview. So for No Liz No Tea Part 3, that's why I immediately wanted to bring you on. And one of the key things was I always ask people this. I asked them, like, I would ask all his friends, how did you come to meet Derek Shapiro? Because Derek is probably one of the strangest people I've ever met. He's a friend of mine. He's awesome, but he's still one of the strangest people I've ever met. So you got to work with us on set. We had a great scene together. How did you feel about Derek Shapiro?
I think he's pretty awesome. He came to open mic, and anybody that comes to open mic, I guess, I really have no expectations about them. Before I meet them, I want to give them the freedom to be who they are.
Okay. So I'm saying, like, well, after you got to, well, obviously you got to meet him and talk with him. I'm saying, like,
Right.
what was your impression of Derek when you got to work on the movie and seeing him in action?
I was really impressed by how nice he was. We went to karaoke before we did the shoot, and I didn't feel well, and I left early, and I thought I was missing the boat on the movie part. And then he called me and wanted me to meet up so we could do the shoot. So I felt bad, that I was going to miss that opportunity, and he really was so nice to call me back and make sure that I didn't miss out. That was just so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the one thing I've always said about Derek is he genuinely has a heart of gold, and he likes to help people get some type of exposure success when they see them in the entertainment industry. So, and I'm always nice about Derek. Like I said, I've known Derek for almost 5 years now. So if anybody listens to the show on a regular basis knows I will give him all the crap in the world when I talk about him. Mostly because he does drive me crazy a lot, but his heart's always in the right place. And I'm glad that and like I said, I thought the scene we did was great. Basically, it's me having to once again confront Chucky Seymour, and I'm this guy. Basically, my character is this guy that I'm labeled as a quote unquote bully in the movie, only because I make fun of Derek, but I make fun of Chucky Seymour. But my character is basically like this guy is weird. Get the hell away from me. It's not necessarily about a bully. It's like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you, kind of thing. So I like the twist we put on it. So this scene where you see me go, are you kidding me? Is because that's the third time I've bumped into Chucky Seymour. Because I've been in all 3 parts. I'm just like, oh my God, this guy again. And it basically like grabs me. And this should have been my indication that you've done martial arts, because you knew exactly how to grab my jacket. And she said, like, don't make fun of the fabulous Chucky Seymour. And I kind of go, what the? And then she slapped me. Now, the slap didn't hurt, thank God. But I actually, I thought, because I originally thought you were going to do like a prop smack where it was going to come across my face. I was going to have to lean back and sell it. No, she tapped my cheek. So even though it didn't hurt, the initial tap kind of threw me, and I was like, whoa, wait, what?
Well, it was a dark scene.
Yeah.
We were in the street light, and I was thinking you might not be able to see the proper moment to pull back. So that's why I was known as having that much control, that a little bit of touch there makes it look more real.
Yeah.
In a demonstration like we were doing with people on all sides, you can't really fake it. You have to do some contact.
Exactly. and it was great. I loved it. I'm not hating on it at all. It's just saying the tap kind of threw me. So it's one of those things where it's like, I think I sold it even more because I kind of went forward. I was kind of shocked, like, what was that?
Yeah.
I kind of had that initial like shock when they showed in the background, and then of course Jerry ran it, and then of course that's when Jerry runs into the scene, and and
he's amazing.
Were you okay? Did it shock you to see him dressed as a woman in the dress and the wig?
It did. I didn't know that about him.
Well, Jerry's kind of into that lifestyle, so it was kind of used for him. He doesn't he doesn't necessarily dress that way, but he associates with people who do dress that way.
Right.
So it made sense. So since Derek knew that Jerry was into the LGBT community and is bisexual and all that stuff, he said, "Would you be comfortable dressing up like a woman for this scene?" And Jerry was like, "All right," and he did it. And we did it in the last scene in the last movie too, in part 2. Like basically, Jerry was supposed to play like my cross-dressing next door neighbor.
Okay.
So he like Chucky Seymour ends up at my house somehow, and I'm yelling at him like, "Wait a minute. What the hell are you doing at my house now? For you following me around? What's wrong with you?" Just this altercation. And then Jerry comes in, he's all happy, and his name was like Teresa or something. And I'm like, Teresa, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing here? Get off my property. Why would that? And then all of a sudden they go talking. It's like, what the hell are you doing in my house? They go into my because they wanted to shoot the finish the scene in my house. So now I have to sit there and yell like, wait a minute, what are you doing in my house? Go back to your house. I'm like, take him to your house. Like I'm more uncomfortable by, and that's what I love about the scene was that it showed that I was more uncomfortable by Chucky Seymour than I was my cross-dressing neighbor. I was like one of those neighbors that's like, whatever, that's what he does. Like that was how my character was supposed to be. So
cool, very cool.
Yeah, and I'm glad you got so. Do you ever see yourself getting involved in the Derek Shapiro movies again in the future?
Oh, I'd love to. I think he's a really good guy, and I always like to support people I think are good people.
Absolutely. So you enjoy being on No Lips No Teeth Part 3?
Yes, I did.
All right, and I'm looking at the time, and I see we do have to wrap up in a little bit. But before we go, there is one quick thing I definitely want to talk about. What made you decide to create SpaceyHost.com? And what is it for the people who don't know?
Spacey Host is actually the name of my web server. And I've been doing websites for people and assisting them with figuring out what makes their business tick, what makes it go. And I've been doing that since the 9/11 happened.
Okay.
I started making business cards for other people that were being in the coaching sessions at the unemployment office, and went from there to the websites. And Spacey Host is the name of that company. SpaceyHost.com is where you can go if you want a website.
Awesome. Definitely gonna keep that in mind because I know I'm gonna need a website very soon. And ladies and gentlemen, this was Spacey Christina. What can we expect in the future? Like, where can we find you?
Well, I'm always with Jerry Farber at the Tappa in Midtown. I work with Jim Gossett, and I do the website, sell all the tickets for those shows that he does at Houck's Grill in Roswell. And I'm occasionally on the Sunday service videos that Vision Code Productions does with Jordan Jackson.
Okay.
And I still do the open mics at the Atlanta Comedy Theater and anywhere else. I like to do the competition thing that they have, the Rev comedy at the coffee shop, Derek Tennant. I love working with him too.
Awesome. And of course, like I said before, you can catch Spacey Christina in the movie No Lips, No Teeth, Part 3. It's on movieinternetchannel.yellowsite.com, as well as on the Movie Internet Channel YouTube channel on YouTube. So if you want to see Spacey and how amazing of a slap she has, you can come check it out on No Lips, No Teeth, Part 3. And Spacey, I want to thank you so much for driving down here, coming in the studio, and hanging out on the show. And like I said, you've always been one of the most unique personalities I've ever seen. And like I said, you're a genuine nice person, and I'm really glad you got to be on the show. Like I like you definitely have one of the most exciting stories I've had on the show in a while. So I really want you to know I truly appreciate you taking time to be on the show, and I hope to have you back on in the future.
Well, thank you very much, Vinny. I am glad to support you. I think you're a good guy too. And I want to hug you. Can we hug on radio? Does
absolutely.
That work?
Yes, absolutely. That'll work. You guys didn't see it, but it's a great hug. And all right, what we're going to do right now, ladies and gentlemen, is if I can just find the link here. I got so much stuff. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break here. And when I come back, we're gonna get into the recap of last night's WWE Cruiserweight Classic, the Cruiserweight Classic tournament. The last of the first round, the last 4 wrestlers of the first round competed to go on to the next round. We'll talk about the Cruiserweight Classic as well as last night's NXT, where we had one of the most epic debuts in WWE. A big time wrestler showed up on the show, and we definitely are going to talk about that. And of course, if there's time, I don't know if there will be, but we'll get into I'll play the remaining clips from season 5 of the Wonder Years. I was going to do season 6, but I did not have time to see season 6, so I'll recap season 6 either tomorrow or Monday. I am not sure yet. So you guys sit tight, and I'll be back with you guys right after this.
Yes, thank you very much. Oh, yes. Oh. Chucky Seymour. Think. Chucky Seymour. On Monday, August 1st, 2016 at 12 midnight, it's another Murder Mystery Part 3, The Truth of Chucky Seymour. Danielle Craig, Serenity Rose, James Buddy Love Herring.
I can do the shuffle dance. Yeah! Chucky, wait up.
Chucky, wait up. I want to come over and speak to you for a second. Vinny, the Booch, Bucci, Jerry Truman.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God. He's a Elvis freak.
He's the guy who shows up everywhere I go. You know. Guest on the late Vincent Buddy Cianci Jr. Can I hurt your show, buddy? No, I'm the only guy that hosts the show. Oh, really? Okay, steal my thank you very much, buddy. Thank you very much, buddy. On Monday, August 1st, 2016 at 12 midnight, it's another Murder Mystery Part 3, The Truth of Chucky Seymour. Movie, internet channel, USA.com front page, and YouTube.com. They type in Murder Chucky Puppy Movie Derek Shapiro.
Hello, and welcome back to the Boochcast. During the break, we played Derek Shapiro singing Sweet Caroline. That is, of course, the popular Neil Diamond song that Derek Shapiro sang while we were doing karaoke together. The last time that he was, not the last time he was in town, but the time before that, when he was in town, we did a karaoke night, and he sang Sweet Caroline because he loves that song. And also, he's a huge Boston Red Sox fan. As we all know, this is the popular song they play during the seventh inning stretch at Fenway Park, which I will admit, even though I hate the Red Sox with everything I've got, I do enjoy the fact that they have that kind of, fun togetherness feeling at the show. So I'm definitely excited, to have played that song. And the main reason I played that song was because for some reason I was having a bitch of a time finding the trailer for No Lips, No Teeth Part 3. Couldn't seem to find it anywhere. So I basically played Derek Shapiro's Sweet Caroline. Then while I was playing the song, I managed to find the trailer, and then I played the trailer. So that was Derek Shapiro with Sweet Caroline here on the Boochcast. And, of course, the trailer for No Lips, No Teeth Part 3, which, once again, you can find on movieinternetchannel.yolasite.com, as well as the Movie Internet Channel YouTube channel. Check it out. It's one hell of a great film. And, of course, once again, I want to give a special thanks to Spacey Christina for being a guest on the Boochcast today. And let me tell you guys something. I've known Spacey for a couple of years. That is probably the most interesting, compelling conversation on the planet. I learned more about Spacey than I ever did before. Some of the stuff I knew, a lot of this stuff I did not know. I got thrown for a loop. She blew my mind today. She did, definitely. It was a great conversation. And for the YouTube listeners out there, if you're wondering why the camera was off during that time, it was because Spacey was asking me as we were starting the show if this is an audio show, and I said yes. Mostly because I was worried the camera might make her uncomfortable. So I wanted to respect her wishes, and I shut the camera off during her segment. And now that it's just me by myself, I got the camera back on. So I do apologize to anybody out there that was disappointed over the camera, but I'm the type of guy that when I have people on the Boochcast, I like to make my guests as comfortable as possible. I want to create a comfortable environment for any guest, especially when they come into my house. And I do want to thank Spacey Christina for being on the show today. And obviously, I hope she was able to find her phone. I actually remember, like, as I was playing the song, like, I ran into the bathroom and taking a bathroom break because I did have to pee after sitting here for almost an hour talking, and then Spacey just ran right past me, and I was like, oh, jeez, because. And the only reason it freaked me out is because I have this habit, usually because it's just me and my brother in the house, that I don't shut the door before I pee. And at the time that I was going to the bathroom, I had already given Spacey a hug goodbye, and she was walking to her car. So in my mind, Spacey had already left. So if I knew if Spacey was still in the house when I went to the bathroom, I would have shut the door and locked it like a normal person. But because she wasn't here, I just went, and then she just ran right by me, and I went, oh, I had to stop the stream, zip it back up, lock it up, help her find her phone, and then she finally went downstairs and left, and then I was able to finish relieving myself and then come back in here and do the show. So aside from that tiny little incident, everything else was great with this interview. I had a fantastic time talking to Spacey, and like I said, she's one of the most unique people I've ever met, and she had some of the best stories I've heard in a while. And that's the key thing for me. I love having a guest that can tell great, compelling stories and show me something I've never seen before. And it was great. And I hope that, like I said, at some point in the future, hopefully we'll have Spacey back on the show and definitely get to talk to her more about other projects she'll have coming forward. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with some wrestling talk here on the show. After all, it wouldn't be the Boochcast without some wrestling talk. And we're going to start off with, I think this time around I'll go with NXT first. Just because one of the main event moments compels with the Cruiserweight Classic. So I'll start off with NXT. NXT kicks off at Full Sail, and the show begins with the first official match of the evening. Hideo Itami, who is making his long-awaited return after being gone from the ring for over a year since his shoulder injury. Hideo Itami makes his official return and goes one-on-one with Sean Maluda. Now, Sean Maluda, for those of you who may not remember, is in the Cruiserweight Classic. He was one of the members of the Cruiserweight Classic. And also, he comes from the Samoan Adonai family, which is the same family that has The Rock, Rikishi, Yokozuna, Jimmy Snuka, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Nia Jax, Tamina. He comes from that big Samoan wrestling family. So that's definitely going to be an advantage that will work in his favor of getting a job, but it's also going to work as a disadvantage because fans who realize that are going to boo him out of the building. Just because they hate this Samoan family so much, because they have a lot of hatred for Roman Reigns. So I do think that can work a disadvantage against him. However, it was great to see the Cruiserweight Classic competitors getting in the ring and at ringside as they influx into NXT. They had the winners of previous matches in the ring watching the action as they kind of cheered on Sean Maluda, because in a way he is one of them, because, like I said before, the Cruiserweight Classic is more about sportsmanship wrestling rather than storylines and angles and heels and baby faces. So, and I will say both these guys got a fair amount of ring time to showcase what they got. It wasn't Hideo Itami coming in and just destroying Sean Maluda. We got to see an actual match between these two. And I think that is at the end of the day what matters. You know, Hideo Itami got to show that he still got it, hasn't missed a step, and Sean Maluda got to show that, you know, he deserves a legit chance to be in the WWE. Granted, he's going to be coming. He'll probably be going to Raw as a cruiserweight competitor to be a cruiserweight wrestler. I don't know how that's going to sit well with the NXT people, especially since they're the ones that still have to kind of go up through the ranks. But the cruiserweight people, they might just get a bye to Monday Night Raw to be part of the cruiserweight division. But the advantage is I don't really see it as much of a burial to NXT because the cruiserweight wrestlers are only going to be fighting for the cruiserweight title. I don't see them. They're not going to get to fight for every single championship. I think only a select few of these people will even remotely get a shot at mid-card titles, let alone the Universal Championship. At least that's just the way I am looking at this perspective. And, of course, in the end, after a litany of strikes, Itami lines up his running knee and connects. He gets the 3 count for the win, and the winner of the match is Hideo Itami, which I expected because obviously they're looking to build up Hideo Itami and make him the next big star on the roster. And they're looking to make him a legit badass, a legit competitor in NXT. So he definitely needs the win to secure that. And because Sean Maluda, like I said, he's in the cruiserweight division. He'll live to get over another day. And on that note, we cut to the backstage area where we see Andrea DeMarco with the Revival, who, as we all know, are still the NXT Tag Team Champions and the first ever 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions. And obviously, they're excited because the last big major match they had, they defeated American Alpha to win back those tag belts. And, of course, they beat them again to keep it. And, of course, in the end, they do have that loss to Gargano and Ciampa. But despite all of that, here's what the Revival has to say about the tag team division in NXT.
After defeating American Alpha in the 2 out of 3 falls match and claiming to be the best tag team in NXT, is there any pressure on the Revival?
No, Andy, there is no pressure, and it's not a claim. It is scientifically proven that we are the greatest tag team, and it is not even close. Exactly, Andre. I'll explain it to you like this, okay? Just because you slap a pretty bumper sticker on the back of a Dodge Stratus, don't make it an 82 Ford Bronco. Jack, we are that Ford Bronco. Jesse James is driving, and we are the baddest. 100%. Undoubtedly, we are the absolute best tag team on this planet. All right, hey. You're throwing that word around a lot, planet. Planet's a pretty big place. It's a big place. We've been spending years traveling all over the planet, challenging the absolute best. And that's what brings us here to NXT. And you see, those tag titles say that you are the best. So how's about the Revival challenges themselves and faces us? Whoa. Calm down, kids. These tag titles here means we're the top of the heap. It means we're the best. It means we make the rules. So how about you two grab a ticket and get to the back of the line? Goodbye.
Ding, ding, ding.
Back.
Ding, ding, ding.
Excuse me, can we get some service around here? We seem to have a ticket with the number 1 on it, which means we're next in line. Man, how many times do I have to tell you now? It doesn't matter what our ticket says. It doesn't matter that we beat the Revival. Fact of the matter is, they don't want to give us a shot at the NXT Tag Team title. Or do you, boys? They're not scared, right? Top guys don't get scared here. No, top guys. Okay. Listen, we're fair, square, modest, and honest, okay? And we've already promised these guys the opportunity to face the Revival. So, how about you 4 converse amongst yourselves? And for now, top guys out. Bye-bye. See you. Tough guys. Yeah, tough guys all the time. We're number one. You get this back. No, it's a metaphor anyway. It doesn't matter. It's not a real secret. Hear that bell? No, don't take the bell. I like the bell. It's stupid. Ding, 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 ding.
Now, I gotta be honest about this video here. I had no idea that Johnny Gargano was that funny of a person. I really didn't. I had no idea that Johnny Gargano was just that damn good. He really is legitimately funny, and he has a personality to back up his wrestling skills. I say he truly is Johnny Wrestling. My respect for Johnny Gargano went up tremendously from that. Now, Tommaso Ciampa, he did a good job too. You know, they're good. They got good chemistry. But Johnny Gargano showed off his personality big time in this segment. Also, I like the fact that TM61 is finally getting into the fray. I like the fact that they are getting a fair opportunity to showcase what they've got. And I like the fact that they are getting a fair opportunity to really just deliver on a massive level. You know, they're starting to work them into the fray. Like I said, there's not a lot of tag teams left in NXT. American Alpha was the big one that just got called up. We still got the Authors of Pain. God only knows what they're going to do. We got the Revival, who if and when they lose the tag belts, they're definitely going to the main roster. We got TM61. We got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I don't know any other tag teams that are left. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and it's going to be even more intriguing to see if NXT does decide to start scouting more tag teams. Because they can find a big, because they can get a big name team to come in, it will help out a lot. I still would like to see, I would love to see if they can get the Briscoe brothers from Ring of Honor. They'll probably never leave Ring of Honor, but that would definitely be a team that would, do well in NXT. Reach for the sky, boy. Let's Sausage County Chicken. Two of the weirdest fucking guys on the planet. They're an amazing tag team. And that is definitely something that I would find to be very entertaining. And on that note, we move on to the next match of the evening, which is Mojo Rawley versus Chris Atkins. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little shocked to see Mojo Rawley in NXT since he got called up to SmackDown. But I guess now they're trying to make people bounce back and forth between shows, which to me doesn't make any sense. I say if you're going to call somebody up, let them stay up. Maybe have them come down to NXT every now and then for a big event. But for the most part, don't let them. Don't waste time or don't waste the people's time with things like that, with just bouncing back and forth between shows. Don't devalue the wrestler that way. But either way, Atkins was a big dude with a good look. Of course, Mojo Rawley was practically, getting ready to dominate most of the fight. But unfortunately, before this fight could get any further, Samoa Joe comes out, throws Atkins out of the ring, takes Raw, and then basically beats the hell out of Mojo Rawley, and pretty much tries everything he can to ruin the match. And then Samoa Joe grabs the microphone and has this to say about the fact that at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, he'll be facing Shinsuke Nakamura, and apparently he's still not happy about it.
Regal, since you don't feel the need to consult with the NXT champion when it comes to my contenders, I don't feel the need to consult with you when I want to come out here and rampage all over your show. August 20th, Brooklyn, New York, take over. I am the NXT champion. I will destroy Shinsuke Nakamura because I am Marcus Raleigh from behind. Mojo Rawley is way ahead to the NXT champion. It's that impressive. This is what I'm talking about. If Mojo can harness this, he is going to be dangerous. Oh, he's harnessed it all right, but he looks like he just enticed some of the Joe. Hats off to Mojo for standing up for himself. But no, he's going to pay for it. He's going to pay in a big way. Because the NXT champion is miserable. Some of the Joe right back after dumping on the rim, and now the Coquina clutch on the steel rail. Not the jam. Not the jam. Not the jam. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. That's what I'm doing on radio.
Well, obviously, Samoa Joe is still not happy about having to face Shinsuke Nakamura. He's going to take and he feels that he doesn't need to consult anybody if he wants to run Rampage on the show and make a statement. But then I like the fact that Mojo Rawley attacked Samoa Joe. Now, of course, Joe took him out and applied the Coquina clutch to, choke out Mojo Rawley. But I like the fact that Mojo actually fought back, that they didn't just let him get completely taken down by Samoa Joe. And I like that for two reasons. One, Mojo's a big guy, so he shouldn't be that easy to take down for any reason. And number two, Mojo Rawley just got drafted to SmackDown Live. That alone should make Mojo Rawley a priority to push over someone in NXT. Now, I'm not saying that Mojo has to completely decimate Samoa Joe. That shouldn't happen either. But Mojo should at least put up one hell of a fight on Samoa Joe and have to rely on the Coquina clutch to really, truly get the job done. So I thought that was booked very well. Of course, the match ended in a no contest, no out with due to interference. And Samoa Joe then stands up and he's celebrating, taking out Mojo Rawley and establishing his dominance on the roster, and essentially proving that he is the dominant superstar in NXT. And it's going to be intriguing to see what happens between him and Nakamura, because Samoa Joe looks more angry and more hungry and more determined than ever. And on that note, I'll move on to the next segment here. We cut to the backstage area where we see Bayley. And obviously the big thing with her is that she is in the process of campaigning with William Regal to get a shot at Asuka and the women's championship. And like William Regal said, if there's no objections, they'll have a contract signing to, make it official. And apparently Bayley is going through a bit of a change. And here's what Bayley has to say about her potential rematch with Asuka.
Bayley, last time you faced Asuka, she choked you out and beat you for the NXT Women's Championship. What are you doing now to ensure something like that does not happen again?
Well, it's pretty obvious that I'm not the same person that I was since losing my title in Dallas, but, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Because I've been in NXT for a while, and I'm getting pushed, and I've been getting pushed and pushed, and I think it's time to adapt. I mean, it's more of like a mental thing now. It's time to mentally prepare for matches like these. So I've been watching Asuka's matches. I've been watching her every move. And I'm ready to take my title back. I am ready for... Ain't you ready? Come on. Guess I'll go see for myself.
Well, obviously, we're seeing a bit of a change in Bayley. I think we're seeing Bayley become a little more aggressive, a little more tough. And I think that that's a side of Bayley that we have to see. I mean, look, it's one thing to be nice and to be sweet and to have that goody-goody girl personality, but at some point, you got to show that you can get angry and pissed off with the best of them. That you've got that mean, ruthless aggression. Because Asuka is not fucking around. She is legit badass with that women's championship. And she's even saying, come watch. I will show you how unready you are. And Bayley obviously is not one to back down from a challenge. And of course, on that note, we do move on to the next match of the evening, which is Asuka one-on-one with Aaliyah, with Bayley watching the match. And Aaliyah, now some of you might remember Aaliyah from the show on the WWE Network, Breaking Ground. She had a princess-type gimmick. She's dropped it and has a great new look. Asuka came out to a nice pop, like she always does. Bayley is now looking or sounding extremely comfortable on commentary. And as I say that, Asuka brings a chair to ringside and invites Bayley to have an even closer look. So she tells Bayley, come sit in this chair, and does so Bayley comes over, throws the chair away, and just stands there. And basically, this was Asuka beating the hell out of Aaliyah, basically. Aaliyah, as far as I can tell here, got no reaction here. And the crowd's not sure how to react because it looks like Asuka is acting more like a heel than a babyface in this match. And basically, we basically just watched Aaliyah get tortured. And then, of course, Asuka goes for the cover on Aaliyah after hitting a big kick to the side of the head, but then pulls her up and prevents her from being pinned and decides to toy with her a little while longer. Then she decides to lock in the Asuka lock. Aaliyah taps out. Asuka keeps the hold on long after the bell, and Bayley comes in and makes the save. Like, she kind of breaks it up and tells her, like, look, you made your point. And then Asuka and Bayley kind of have a bit of a stare down or stare off, which I think was good. You know, Bayley's obviously showing, you know, remorse and compassion for Aaliyah, but at the same time, it's showing off how good she really is. And then, you know, not only that, but it basically showcased Asuka as a badass and let Bayley know that she has her work cut out for her. And like I said, we need to see an edgier, more aggressive Bayley for this match. We need Bayley to be able to go into that ring and completely mess up Asuka. We need to see that at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, because we find out later that next week on NXT, there will be an official contract signing. It will be Bayley versus Asuka at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And I don't know if Bayley's going to become a 2-time champion or if Asuka's going to hold on to the title and they're going to send Bayley to the main roster, because I know they plan on calling her up soon. But when this match happens, Bayley has to be very, very edgy and on top of her game. Bayley cannot come in there being all sweet and kind. She can still do, you know, she can still have her crazy friends. And by crazy friends, of course, I mean the
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Hi, I'm Al Harrington, president and CEO of Al Harrington's Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man emporium and warehouse. Thanks to a shipping error, I am now currently overstocked on wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men, and I am passing the savings on to you. Attract customers to your business. Make a splash at your next presentation. Keep grandma company. Protect your crops. Confuse your neighbors. African American, hail a cab. Testify in church, or just raise the roof. Whatever your wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man needs are. So come on down to Al Harrington's wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man emporium and warehouse, Route 2 in Weekapaug.
So yeah, she could bring those down to the ring all she wants. But the point is, when the bell rings, Bayley has to be aggressive. She has to be a badass, and she can't be smiling. When that bell rings, the smile needs to be off her face, and she needs to look mean. She needs to look nasty. She needs to have a look on her face like, bitch, I will kill you. That's how she needs to look when she steps into that ring. Otherwise, Asuka's going to run all over her, and it'll be no one else's fault but Bayley's. So the moment of this match is going to depend on whether or not they're truly ready to bring Bayley to the main roster. If they are, then Asuka's going to win. If not, then Bayley's going to be a two-time champion. And like I said before, I would love nothing more than to see Bayley be on the main roster. I know she would make a splash on the roster. But unfortunately, NXT women's division is depleted right now. And I think that unless you're going to bring in some top female talent, Bayley needs to stay. Otherwise, the women's matches will not be interesting, especially when you have Asuka running over everybody. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, after the match, we cut to the backstage area with Oney Lorcan. Now, for those of you who may not remember, Oney Lorcan was the guy who defeated Ty Dillinger a few weeks ago on NXT. Ty Dillinger was in the ring with another random guy who somehow, some way managed to beat Ty Dillinger. It was the weirdest moment of seeing a jobber win a match that I'd ever seen. But now we get to know a little bit more about Oney Lorcan, and here's how he feels about beating the Perfect 10.
A lot of people said that I got the upset win tonight. I don't know about an upset, but I do know that I won. The competition here in NXT, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get stronger. And that means that I have to get better. And to do that, I have to go back to what got me here in the first place. I have to go back to where I started. If I want to hang with the best that NXT has to offer, I got to go back to my roots.
Okay. Well, that wins the most confusing, cryptic promo of the year for NXT because nobody knows what this guy's roots are. That told us nothing about him. I gotta get back to my roots. What the fuck are his roots? Do people honestly expect us to know what his roots are? Because I don't know what the hell this guy's roots are. I mean, as far as I know, it's him as a wrestler. He's been in Combat Zone Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Top Rope Promotions, Chaotic Wrestling. He was a one-time CZW heavyweight champion. He's been in Westside Extreme Wrestling, Evolve, and Dragon Gate USA. So if he's talking about going back to his roots, it looks to me like the only roots he has is Extreme Wrestling. That's pretty much the only thing I can get from that. If I looked at where he is in the company, I guess the big thing for him would be, going back to being, an extreme hardcore type wrestler, which I don't know how that's going to work in the PG environment that WWE currently has. It'll be intriguing, but I don't see how it's going to happen. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to the next segment where we get to witness history in the making. Finally, after all the random appearances, Bobby Roode, that's right, the it factor of professional wrestling, the longest reigning heavyweight champion in the history of TNA, has come to WWE. Another WWE acquisition from TNA. Bobby Roode is in the ring. He comes out to a new theme song called Glorious, and it's a great theme song for his gimmick. He's in a great suit, kind of has that Triple H look to him. Bobby Roode gets in the ring, and here is what the It Factor has to say about finally being on NXT.
The wait is finally over. Bobby Roode is NXT. A few months ago, I had the privilege and the honor to go to Dallas and sit in the front row for TakeOver. And still to this day, I can't explain the emotions and the feelings that I had that night. 10,000 screaming fans. It was WrestleMania weekend, the biggest event in WWE history. And I knew from that moment on that NXT was the perfect place for me. There's never been another company, another brand anywhere in the world that has revolutionized this industry quite like NXT has. Now, I've heard the phrase, we are NXT. But I believe all of you are also NXT. We are all NXT. But to take NXT to that next level, to take each and every one of you to that next level, well, quite frankly, that's where I come in. Because let's face it, NXT needs Bobby Roode. All of you need Bobby Roode. You see, the NXT universe has been searching the world for a superstar. A superstar to expand the brand, to make it a global powerhouse. And I am proud to be standing here in the middle of this ring in front of each and every single one of you to tell you that they have found that superstar. And that superstar is none other than Bobby Roode. And now that they have found their man, my image and my face will be on billboards in Times Square. Television commercial, ad campaigns, you name it, I will be there. I'm going to take this company to the next level. I will take it to corporate America, to businessmen and women, to Wall Street. I'm going to make this place a better place. And very soon, I'm going to look around this arena, and I faces of presidents and vice presidents, businessmen and women of Fortune 500 companies, not you losers wearing your oversized t-shirts, your stupid cargo pants, your ripped jeans, your dumb hats, your stupid signs, chanting your stupid chant. You're gone. You're out. I am a superstar, not only because of the things that I've done in my career, because I look like a superstar, I dress like a superstar, I wear custom-made suits, I wear expensive shoes, from my watch all the way down to the socks, and everything in between, I am a superstar. And whether you like it or not, there has never been anyone, anywhere, or any place as glorious as Bobby Roode. This is the new NXT, and I am at the helm. And from this moment forward, NXT will be glorious. Rejoice, Phillips, in glory, as Bobby Roode is here to take NXT to the next level. Give me a hallelujah, Tom. Okay, don't say anything, because you're going to get thrown out of this building like all these people with their oversized t-shirts and their stupid hats and their stupid chants. There's going to be CEOs around here, Tom. I don't know what to think. We just saw. All we know is that Bobby Roode claims he is now at the helm, that Bobby Roode is NXT.
Most definitely, Bobby Roode is NXT. Love it. Love the fact that Bobby Roode is now officially in NXT. I've been waiting for Bobby Roode to show up, and Bobby Roode did not disappoint. He comes out in a glorious promo with glorious entrance music, glorious now being his new moniker, and he talked about anything and everything. We literally saw Bobby Roode take this entire crowd on an emotional roller coaster ride and then effortlessly, fluently shoved it straight up their asses. That right there is how you build a heel. He got Bobby Roode to be excited about being on NXT and talking about all of it and saying the crowd is NXT and knowing this is the place to be, but now then saying, I'm going to replace this place with proper businessmen and presidents and vice presidents of companies, and all you idiots are gone. Loved it. I thought that was genius. It actually took the crowd a moment to realize, wait, he's turning on us? And that, to me, is how you build an impressive promo. That is probably one of the best promos I have ever heard Bobby Roode cut. And I'm going all the way back to his time in TNA. That is the best Bobby Roode promo I have ever heard. And like I said, I look forward to seeing Bobby Roode do very well in NXT. And now that he's a heel, I would not be surprised if him and Austin Aries teamed up eventually and became the Dirty Heels again. Because like I said, the NXT Tag Team division is in a little bit of trouble. So there might be a chance for those two guys to reform the Dirty Heels and maybe become NXT Tag Team Champions. Then eventually lose the tag titles and then go for the NXT Championship. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see at least a couple wrestlers win not just the NXT Championship or the tag belts, but maybe be tag team champions and then NXT champions. That's what I want to see out of Bobby Roode and Austin Aries. I want them to be tag champs together, and then each of them get a chance to reign as NXT champion before they get their call up to the main roster. And like I said, Bobby Roode had one hell of an impressive debut. I already know what Bobby Roode can do in the ring, but I look forward to seeing the looks on everyone else's faces, or at least those of you who don't know who Bobby Roode is. I look forward to seeing your reaction to how well this guy is in the ring. He has the gimmick of a modern-day Triple H, except Bobby Roode is better on the mic. And I know for a fact this man will not disappoint. And on that note, we're going to move on to the main event of the evening, tag team action, TM 661 versus The Revival. Interesting that the Yeah is getting over in Dash and Dawson's theme. But then again, almost anything gets over at Full Sail. A little mat wrestling to get us started. Dawson rolls under the ring to regroup. Quickly tags TM61. Quick tags from TM61 to maintain control. Combo standing moonsault and fist drop from TM61. Dawson's selling is very underrated, I should say. Thorn taken down, and Dawson makes the tag. Dash Wilder with big chops and punches and quickly tags in Dawson. Action breaks down as all four get in the ring, and TM61 lands tandem back body drops as they go to commercial break. They come back from the break, and really like that, Phillips and Grave explain the logic behind Revival strategies. Wilder slows the pace down with a variety of submissions. Dawson back in, and my goodness, what a drop kick right to the face of Thorne. No wasted motion from Dawson, which is great about him. Very key. Big back elbow off the Irish whip from Dawson and makes the tag. Dash goes for a dive, but is met by the boots of Thorne and is shot to the corner. Both men make the tag, and Miller with shoulder tackles, power slams, and suplexes. He finishes off the sequence with a huge spine buster. The action gets a bit hairy as TM61 chases down Wilder into the ring, but is met with a trap. Dawson lands a quick, efficient DDT for the 3, and great to see a straight DDT get a pin rather than the shatter machine that Dash and Dawson are known for doing. So, of course, the winners of the match are The Revival, and some of you might be wondering why I went into so much detail with that main event match, and the reason is because this match was the only match I didn't actually get to watch. What I did was I fast-forwarded and grabbed the audio clips because I was just so dead dog tired last night. After I got the Bobby Roode promo, I got the promo from The Revival, and I just decided I'm going to play that and then just go to bed. So I uploaded it, got it ready, and then I passed out because I had to be somewhat awake to make sure I was ready for my interview with Spacey. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, after the match, as I said before, The Revival grabs the microphone after beating TM61, and here's what they have to say about reestablishing their dominance.
Listen, it don't matter what part of this world you come from. Japan, Mexico, Europe, it don't matter. we talk heavy, and we hit hard. This is the big league. We are the big league, and most importantly, we're the top guys here at NXT. TM 6-1, beat them. The Bostillas, we beat them. Iso Cats, we beat them. American Alpha, we beat them. Even the longest reigning tag team champions in NXT history. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Gargano and Ciampa, you didn't get your opportunity. You don't interrupt top guys doing top guy stuff. Whoa. Holy. Where's it on?
90 seconds.
Arn, only Arn. I should never figure it out. Thank you. You guys are dropping a lot of names of teams you've beaten along the way. Allow us to pick them up for you. American Alpha. That's impressive. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good team. The Hollywood Blondes. Wow. You guys are much older than I thought. You are aging well.
60 seconds.
I got this one. What is it? Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. Oink, baby. Whoa. Look at that one. Hold on. Look at this one. This is unbelievable. Yeah? Pikachu and Charmander. Whoa. Calm down. And then wait. Serious question. Have you collected them all? I haven't. Because honestly, the only thing I'm worried about collecting right now are the NXT Tag Team Championships. He said it! You two can drop all the names you want, because everyone knows the one team you haven't dropped is Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. If we're done with Comedy Hour, the two-time NXT Tag Team Champion would like to speak right now, okay? Listen, all the stuff that's spewing out of that big old hole in your face called a mouth is words. What we have means a lot more than that, okay? So, guys, we're out of here. Top guys, out. Go back to your basement, sirs. Oh, here we go. Revival, Gargano and Ciampa. Look at these two cowards, Gargano and Ciampa. Revival is defensive. Stop it. It's unacceptable. That's awesome. Father just competed against one of the greatest tag teams in the world. These two nerds come out here and attack them. That's just disgusting. I hope Gargano and Ciampa play Pokemon Go right off a cliff somewhere. And that's what it's all about. The NXT Tag Team Championship. Gargano and Ciampa have made a statement here tonight.
Well, obviously, Dash and Dawson have a very serious rivalry on their hands. Once again, Johnny Gargano showing off how incredibly hilarious and talented he is. They talked about, American Alpha, saying they also beat the Hollywood Blondes, confusing them for Arn Anderson and Ole and Arn Anderson and Arn and Ole Anderson. I love the fact they said Kermit, Miss Piggy, Pikachu, and Charmander. I love this moment. Once again, Gargano and Ciampa showing that they can entertain as well as wrestle. We already know these two guys can wrestle. That has been established already. If you haven't figured out they can wrestle by now, you haven't been watching the show. But it was great to see the entertainment aspect come out. And then Dawson says their belts are worth more than their words. I like that. So now we got the Revival going for the sneak attack. Ciampa and Gargano making a statement, which this tells me that they're definitely having a match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. It's going to be the Revival versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. We're going to see the two of them team up, and we're going to see these two teams face each other. And I truly believe that when the night is over, we will see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa as the NXT Tag Team Champions. We are definitely going to see that. These guys are more than ready to be Tag Team Champions. They've got it all. They got the wrestling. They got the personality, which they clearly displayed. They can be funny. They can diss well. They have amazing chemistry in the ring together. And when we get to their Cruiserweight Classic match, holy shit. These guys are on top of the wrestling world right now. It would be foolish of NXT. It would be foolish of Triple H to not put the tag belts on Gargano and Ciampa at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. They definitely deserve that opportunity. And I'm glad that a tag team closed out the show because, like I said, the tag team division is in dire need of repairs. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up the recap of NXT. And with the time we got left, we are now going to move on to the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. That's right. The last 4 matches of the Cruiserweight Classic are now going to take place. And we're now going to find out after this who will now be advancing to the next round. Because the next round is going to start next week. Will be round 2 of the Cruiserweight Classic. So let's go check out what happens. We have our first official match of the evening, Rich Swann versus Jason Lee. Now, obviously during the bracketology that I did on Monday, we already know about Rich Swann. So here's a little clip to give you an inside look at Jason Lee.
My name is Jason Lee. I come from Hong Kong. I've been wrestling 8 years. My style is kind of different. It's like wrestling and a little more kung fu in it. I want to show everybody what Hong Kong wrestlers look like. I want to let everybody know I can chase my dream to make the dream come true. 希望大家支持港叔，支持我，我一定會贏到呢次嘅錦標賽。多謝大家。
Okay, well, obviously towards the end of that promo, he was speaking Japanese at the end. So obviously I have no idea what so obviously I didn't understand most of that. But Jason Lee obviously is an incredible wrestler and displayed that during this match. Although Rich Swann had an infectious entrance music and had the entire arena asking, Jason Lee, can you handle this? And the answer is no, Jason Lee couldn't. These guys had one hell of a match. I will say the back and forth action between these two was amazing. Jason Lee getting the chance to showcase a little bit of his skills. He showed that he was very quick with his striking. He's the fastest striker I've ever seen. So he was basically throwing chops, punches, kicks, everything, but he was doing it lightning fast, like kung fu style. So kind of threw Rich Swann off his guard, but eventually he countered with a roundhouse kick of his own. And then, Swann eventually takes down Jason Lee. hits an unbelievable standing 450 splash. He basically just hopped up and down as high as he could, and then finally did a flip, lifted him up, had his tongue hanging out like, as the ref counted 1, 2, 3. So Rich Swann wins the match. He is now victorious, and he gets to go on to the next round, and he is going to take on Lince Dorado. So it'll be Rich Swann versus Lince Dorado in the second round of the Cruiserweight Classic. And, of course, after the match, both men shake hands and show their sportsmanship. But obviously I'm glad that Rich Swann won. Mostly because Rich Swann is already an NXT superstar. So obviously, naturally, they're going to give him a push over Jason Lee. But just because Rich Swann won the match doesn't mean that Jason Lee still doesn't have the potential to be a success in the ring and showcase that he can get it done. So don't think Jason Lee is completely, out of the picture yet. There's a good chance he might get the call up to Raw and be in the Cruiserweight division. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I'm trying to, get myself energized so that I can, finish off the show today. And on that note, we move on to the next match of the evening. Noam Dar versus Gurv Shira. Now, obviously, like I said during the bracketology, I played the clip of Gurv Shira, who's in this competition with his brother, as they are the Bollywood Boys. His brother Harv. They are both the Bollywood Boys. So you already know about Gurv Shira. But here is what you need to know about Noam Dar.
My name is Noam Dar. It's fantastic to represent Scotland, my current home nation. I was also born in Israel, so representing Israel in WWE. I'm 22 years old. I'm the youngest guy in the tournament. It's definitely something that I'm keeping in the back of my head. I feel that someone may have dismissed me as competition in this tournament due to my age. I've been wrestling since I was 15, but it's not something that I've never had happen to me before. I'm 100% here to win the tournament. I want to make sure that I represent Scotland as a nation and set the bar quite high for future winners.
Well, obviously, Noam Dar has proven himself to be a passionate competitor. He's the youngest competitor in the CWC, but he's not inexperienced. He started wrestling when he was 15. He's currently 22 years old and is the youngest competitor in this profession. And these guys definitely had one hell of a fight. Noam Dar definitely brought a level of aggression to Gurv that I don't think Gurv was quite expecting. But, eventually, though, Ciro took a different approach to the match, catching his opponent with an elbow and taunting the fiery Dar into charging at him, giving him an opening to take Dar down to the mat. And so Ciro was definitely having to change his game up a little bit and had a little bit of a heelish demeanor to him during the match. But then, of course, Dar then waited for his opening to attack. He focused his attack on the leg of the Golden Lion, which is apparently Gurv Shira's nickname when he's solo. Ciro nearly turned the tide with an elbow off the ropes, but Dar evaded. It wasn't long after that. Dar locked on his trademark knee bar in the middle of the ring. And all of a sudden, Gurv taps out, and Noam Dar advances to the next round where he will take on Ho-Ho Lung. So that's what we can expect in the second round of the Cruiserweight Classic. We're going to see Noam Dar versus Ho-Ho Lung one-on-one in the ring. Definitely going to be an event worth checking out. So definitely looking forward to that in the next round. Ho-Ho Lung is definitely an incredible talent. And Noam Dar showed that, you don't have to be old to be experienced. And he definitely is proving himself and is able to get the job done And hopefully, even though he's 22, I hope he doesn't let the success go to his head and turn into a brat like Paige has. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next match of the evening here. We got Jack Gallagher versus Fabian Aichner. Now, of course, Jack Gallagher, as we all know, is a proper gentleman in the ring. He goes, I can be gentlemanly about a match if my opponent can be gentlemanly about a match. So we've already talked about Jack Gallagher in the bracketology episode on Monday. But here's what we need to know about Fabian Aichner.
I feel great to represent Italy because, unfortunately, the wrestling culture in Italy isn't as big as it is over here. It isn't as easy because there's just very little wrestling schools. So as soon as I step in the ring, I feel that intensity and the aggression and the passion. It's always been a part of it. I'm a strong believer in saying hard work pays off, and I'm definitely not going to let this opportunity just slip through my fingers. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out. The dream for me is just to win it. Hands down.
Well, I guess it's safe to say that Fabian Aichner is not here to fuck around. I do admire the fact that he's from Italy, and he does look like a pretty big guy. So even though he's a cruiserweight, he could definitely move on. He's definitely one of those guys that could move on to a mid-card or potential world title in the future just based on his size. And in this match, these guys were incredible. I mean, a lot, like, for example, Jack Gallagher is very much a technician. So he was able to take down Fabian Aichner with incredibly unique British-style takedowns, which I admired and respected from him. Aichner soon became frustrated with Gallagher's unusual offense and used the weight difference between them to his advantage. Eventually striking Gallagher, stopping him in his tracks. The Italian star muscled the extraordinarily gentleman around with the ring with ease, pretty much tossing him around like a rag doll. And even though he showed he could take flight by hitting a double springboard moonsault from the apron back into the ring, he only got a 2 count, which I thought was great. Like, he climbed up onto one rope, jumped to the other rope, and then moonsaulted. That was probably one of the best high-flying moves I've seen a wrestler do in a while. I think Fabian Aichner had incredible athleticism in this match and definitely showcased it. But, of course, Gallagher, he's wiredy. So he was able to eventually fight out of everything. He locked in a guillotine hold. But then Aichner did another amazing move where he powered out of his submission and flipped Gallagher into a sit-out powerbomb. But Gallagher still managed to kick out. And then Gallagher eventually goes for a frog splash. Gallagher moves out of the way. He backs his opponent to the corner, charge, and and hits a devastating drop kick to Aichner's face, a vicious one, just threw all of his 167 pounds into a devastating drop kick, and then pinned him 1, 2, 3. And now Jack Gallagher will go on to the next match to face Akira Tozawa. And I already know Jack Gallagher and Akira Tozawa are definitely going to have a hell of a great match. That's definitely something to look forward to in the second round of the tournament. And I definitely know that Fabian Aichner, there is definitely going to be a place for him on the roster. Despite the loss, Jack Gallagher was fantastic in the ring. I look forward to seeing more from him. And I could definitely see him forming a 3-man stable with the Vaudevillains down the road. I definitely see that. I definitely see him being a Vaudevillain member because he just has that personality to him. And he looks so much like Aiden English and Simon Gotch. He could definitely be their manager. Maybe. I don't know. But on that note, we do move on to the main event of the evening, which is the two former tag teams. I mean, not former tag teams, but 2 tag team partners, 2 best friends facing off against each other after dealing with after just having that epic moment with the Revival to close out NXT. We got Johnny Gargano one-on-one against Tommaso Ciampa. Now, We've already talked about Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and how they feel about facing each other during the bracketology. But there was a bonus interview segment that aired, and that's what I'm going to play for you guys right now. Here's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa with final words to say to each other before they step into that ring.
Johnny, Tommaso, how will being tag team partners affect your match tonight?
Doesn't matter that he's my tag team partner. It doesn't matter that he's like a brother to me. Tonight, when I look across that ring, I'll see just another guy. It's win or go home. And Johnny Wrestling ain't ready to go home. Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Wrestling. That's all I ever hear is Johnny Wrestling. Tonight's not about Johnny Wrestling. You called me just another guy. After tonight to you, boy, not only am I going to be the guy that put you out of the Cruiserweight Classic, I'm going to be the guy that hurt you. You do what you got to do.
Well, obviously, this is one friendship that these guys do not mind putting on hold to have this epic encounter. And I'll be damned if that isn't exactly what happened, because when the bell rang, these two guys put on what is without a doubt the match of the year. This was without a doubt one of the best pure wrestling matches I have ever seen. This was the perfect match to close out the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic. I'm going to be intrigued to see next week if any of these matches top the match that main evented last night, because it was incredible. It was the most anticipated, and these guys damn near were ready to kill each other. These guys knew each other so well in the ring that they put on a masterpiece. This was a masterpiece. This match was the ultimate symbol of perfection that you could ever get in a wrestling match. These guys were ruthless. I saw these guys hit anything and everything on each other. Gargano hitting a slingshot DDT. Then, at one point, Ciampa got the upper hand, stunned everyone in the arena when he dropped Gargano's spine first onto the ring apron with an air raid crash, which was amazing. Then, of course, one of the highlights was, trying to remember, Gargano just dominating. It's, hitting us a major suicide dive to the outside, after just sending Gargano flying through the ring. At one point, Ciampa tried to hit a move off the top rope. Gargano did a sunset flip, then grabbed Gargano's arm, tucked his head between his legs, hit him with a vicious super kick, then powerbombed him off the ring, then picked him up, hit him with a powerbomb. Ciampa rolled out of the ring. Gargano bounced off the ropes, hit a suicide dive, and took Ciampa down again. That was the best sequence I had seen in a wrestling match. Johnny Gargano pulled out all the stops. And then, of course, after that, he threw him back in the ring, went for the count, and Gargano kicked out. Ciampa then had his sights set as he pulled down his knee pad, but then hesitated to strike his friend and got caught with a super kick. The Sicilian psychopath didn't make the mistake twice, picking Gargano up with a brutal powerbomb backbreaker combination that he calls Project Ciampa. And then he goes for the count. Gargano kicks out, and Ciampa is in a state of shock. Gargano's all glassy-eyed, doesn't know where the hell he is. Ciampa finally pulled Johnny Wrestling to his feet, where Gargano dared to unleash one final blow. Ciampa removed his elbow pad, but Gargano ducked and took Ciampa down to the mat. Gargano got the upper hand in the scrum, pinning Ciampa with a crucifix to win the last spot in the second round, where he will face TJ Perkins. So they do a series of submission, pinning, rolling around the ring. Finally, Gargano got the crucifix pin and won the match. And again, great, epic start to finish. So many near falls, so many epic moments. And because these guys were friends who knew each other so well, they could do the kind of wrestling and storytelling you couldn't normally see in the Cruiserweight Classic. These guys took... This is the match, the only match in the competition that has a storyline behind it, and it was the best match of the night because not only did these guys showcase their talent, they took the crowd on a roller coaster ride. And you can't expect anything to be better than that. That's about as good as it gets, folks. About as good as it gets. And I look forward to seeing what's going to happen between Johnny Gargano and TJ Perkins, but I will be shocked if it tops the match I just saw between him and Tommaso Ciampa. They put themselves on the map epically, and after the bout, an emotionally devastated Ciampa initially refused to shake his partner's hand, but following some contemplation, Ciampa got back into the ring, sat down next to Gargano on the canvas, and gave him a hug, showing that their friendship withstood this epic battle. So we now know that they are still friends. They have more respect for each other than ever. Ciampa's going to take the loss like a man. And now, more than ever, I am convinced and I am confident that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano will be the next NXT Tag Team Champions. I don't know if Johnny Gargano will be a Cruiserweight champ or not, but I know they will definitely win the tag belts in Brooklyn, and they deserve to. They deserve to. There is no reason on God's green earth why these men should not go to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, beat the Revival, and become the NXT Tag Team Champions. They are right now the hottest team in NXT. And they are establishing dominance, especially with the amazing match they just put on against each other. That was a symbol of perfection in wrestling. That match was flawless. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up the Cruiserweight Classic. I'll give a reminder. In the second round, we're going to see Rich Swann versus Lince Dorado. We're going to see Noam Dar versus Ho-Ho Lung. We're going to see Jack Gallagher versus Akira Tozawa. And we're going to see Johnny Gargano versus TJ Perkins. All that and more coming up here on the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. And I can't wait to start recapping the second round next week. All right, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, unfortunately, even though it says Season 6 of the Wonder Years in the synopsis, at least for the live listeners, I have not had the opportunity to get the clips that I need for Season 6 because I had so much work going on. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to finish the recap of Season 5, and either tomorrow or Monday, I'll do Season 6. It'll depend on whether or not Desmond calls in tomorrow. If Desmond's calling in tomorrow, then I will hold off on it till Monday, and I'll probably do it after Gator Ricky Ross is done with his segment. Once he goes back to work from his lunch break, I'll do Season 6 of the Wonder Years. So we'll handle it then. But what I'll do is I'll start off with the rest of Season 5, and I'm going to start off with the episode Soccer. For those of you who may not remember, this is when Kevin Arnold joined the soccer team, and he found out that a legendary football coach was now the coach of the soccer team, and he was disgruntled, having lost his spirit because the soccer team is just terrible. And eventually, Kevin gets frustrated because the players are just angry and bitter, and the coach doesn't seem to give a shit. So Kevin Arnold decides to give a motivational speech to the team, and here's what Kevin had to say to his fellow soccer teammates.
Zev, I can't believe it. I hate this stupid game. It was horrible. We were getting our noses rubbed in it. Clearly, what was needed here was a pickup, a pep talk, a little new philosophy and guidance. I don't want to go back out there. And suddenly I was seeing red.
Guys, I have something to say.
If Pops wouldn't step forward, I would.
We might not be the best soccer team that ever played. In fact, we might not even be very good. Or any good. At all.
Possibly I was on a bad tack here.
So I say let's forget about what's happened so far, and let's start thinking about what might happen. Okay? Let's go.
And as I ran out of that locker room, I had just one thought. I only hope someone was following me. When I got back on that field, I was mad. I'd take these guys on myself if I had to.
Hey, wait for us.
We actually got possession of the ball.
Over here.
What's more amazing? We actually completed a pass. It was our finest hour. Unfortunately, we kicked the ball into the wrong net.
I don't believe it. You scored on our goal, bozo. Don't call me bozo. Spot brain. Hey, so it's your jerks. Just break it up. We're calling it jerk. Ridiculous. Who needs this? Shut it down.
We completely fell apart. It was like Lord of the Flies. And that's what happened. Pops was heading towards us to say it was over. That we had no hope of winning. That it was time to hang it up.
Kick it that way.
I don't know what it was that touched him. Maybe it was the way we stuck together. Maybe it was the way we were tearing apart. In that brief instant, Pops McIntyre became a coach again.
Sure, we lost that day, but it was a glorious defeat. After all over America there were teams like ours. Teams that marched bravely into slaughter. Teams that went 0-15 and kept on losing. And kept on trying. Not for the league titles or the silver-plated victory cups, but just for the joy of playing together. The thing is, I'll never forget those guys, even if they were dorks.
Well, obviously, Kevin found a love and a passion for soccer. They got the coach to believe in themselves again. And, you know, they found victory and defeat, which is something I've always defined my life as, you know, because that accurately sums up. You know, they said they lost the fight, but they lost the game, but they got their chemistry back. And the key thing is, if you can finally build trust or chemistry within a team, it's only a matter of time before you start winning. So that could very well be a turning point for the soccer team. Like, yeah, we got our asses kicked, but now we love the game. We now trust each other. We have a coach who gives a shit enough to teach us now. So we could definitely do better. And it would have been interesting to see if Kevin really did do well as a soccer star. And it is kind of weird to see Kevin play soccer when we already know he's real good at basketball, despite the fact he never tried out for the basketball team, which always confused and mind-boggled me when it came to this show. I always found that confusing. But either way, still very inspirational and still a hell of a story to tell. And on that note, we move on to the next episode here, which is a dinner out. Obviously, this is from Norma trying to reconcile the relationship between Jack and Karen after the fallout when Jack was pretty much disowning Karen for moving in with Michael when they're not married. And basically, Michael shows up with Karen, and Jack is not happy about it. And then eventually the table's too cramped up, and Jack continues to spar with Karen over Michael, and just all this craziness goes down. And here's a clip from the episode that shows the meltdown between Jack, Karen, Michael, and, well, everything in between.
I don't want to talk about it. Okay?
I will. Like dad, like daughter.
Hey, he is your father. Mom, did you really come all the way up here to tell me that? No. I came to bring you groceries.
Every 2 weeks, my mother would invent some subterfuge to sneak behind enemy lines and attempt to reestablish communications.
We do have stores around here, you know.
With varying success.
You got that up there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Mom knows there's only two of us, right?
I think so.
That would be Michael, Karen's boyfriend, or live-in, or significant other, whatever.
So, how's your dad?
You know, he's never the same.
Only worse?
You got it.
Thing is, even though I was supposed to hate the guy, I didn't. Not that was the problem.
Well, we live together, we sleep together, we are together.
That was the problem.
We know that, honey. No, maybe you know that. That doesn't know. Well, you just have to give him some time. And he's stubborn, headed. Isn't Kevin? Now don't talk about your father like that.
So, who do you think's going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
life here was about the same as at our house.
Never mind.
Sure, you're not being fair. Just come talk to him. Mom, I'd love to. Oh, good then. But not without Michael.
And we were back where we started.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt for you to, sit down together. I mean, he's your father, right? And, well, he's paying for all the groceries, right? I think there's another bag in the car, right?
Right.
And there you had it.
Honey, there's nothing more to talk about.
We were trapped between the rock and the hard place, or the Hell's Angels, whichever came first.
Hi. Sorry we're late. They couldn't come in a car?
They don't have a car. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Mr. Arnold.
I'm Rachel.
Looking back, it was quite a moment. Historic, really. After all, we were crossing the Rubicon here.
So, your guy's sleeping with my sister, huh?
And there was nothing to do but swim for our lives.
So, Mr. Arnold, how are things at North Plant, North Court, North Fleet, North... Tom. Northcom. That's where you work, right? How are things there? Work.
And back to me.
Well, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, me too. Northcom. I knew it was Northcom. What is the matter with me?
It wasn't so bad. Really.
Right. I just made a complete fool of myself.
Well, sometimes my dad can do it.
Maybe we should just stay in here for a while, you think?
Obviously, this guy needed help.
Well, he'll be fine. It just gets awkward when you're,
Sleeping with someone's daughter.
the new person.
You mean because I'm sleeping with his daughter?
Well, there's that.
I can just figure out how to talk to the guy. What's he interested in? I mean, besides murder.
So I searched my brain for that one elusive universal language that could somehow forge a bond between men.
What about golf?
Golf? Sure, Dad loved golf.
Uh-huh.
My short game's crap. My putting's gone to pot. Last weekend I lost $12 on a 3-man Nassau. I hate golf. And so, from the far-flung corners of the salad bar, we came together once again. Ratchet set. I could really use this.
I'm glad. It was Michael's idea.
Guess you could say it was kind of the high point of the evening. Thanks.
Well, gee, Dad, don't get all choked up about it.
I said thank you.
Did you see what he just did, Mom? Did you see? Honey?
Come on, Karen, give the guy a break. It's his birthday.
Hey, when I need your help, I'll ask for it.
Look, I was just trying to ease the...
You've done enough, damn it.
That's it. Leave it. Karen, I don't know why I thought tonight would be any different. Come on, Michael, we're out of here.
No, you're not out of here. We're out of here. Where's the check? It was horrible.
Wait a minute, Dad, I was going to pay... Jack, please.
You need this?
So obviously things don't go over very well with the Arnold family. His dad's still adjusting to accepting the fact that his daughter is somewhat living a life that he doesn't like. And it's not even that she's not. The thing is this. She's still going to school. She's still getting an education. She's still doing everything right. She's just living with a man that she's not married to. Which, like I said, back then was very taboo. Today, it's not a big deal. In fact, it's the norm. As well it should be. I'm sorry. I don't think you should wait till you're married to have sex or move in with somebody. Those are both things you should do before you even think of having sex, before you even think of getting married to someone. Because you got to make sure, as I said before, that the sex you're getting, this is for men and women, both of us, both genders. You got to make sure the sex you're getting is the sex you want for the rest of your life. And you got to make sure that you can tolerate living with someone for the rest of their life. Like, can you tolerate their pet peeves? Can you reach a compromise on how to keep the house that way? And these are all decisions you should make before you get married. So be traditional all you want, but that's just ridiculous to me that that's even a discussion, especially when Karen's a grown adult. But then, of course, after everything, things go downhill. But the high point of the night is when Norma presents Jack with a photo album gift. Afterwards, however, stubborn Jack and headstrong Karen feel badly about the farce and reconcile in the end. And it makes Kevin realize that what his father really needed for his birthday was his daughter's goodwill more so than gifts. He just wanted to hear his daughter say, "I love you, Daddy." And eventually he got that. And it shows that, Jack genuinely does love his daughter. And despite the fact that he doesn't approve of most of the stuff that she's out there doing. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut to the next episode here, which is Hero. This is basically the high school basketball team has a star player, Bobby Riddle, played by the very talented Jim Caviezel, and they go all the way to the championship. And then Kevin is caught up in it because he's a huge fan of Bobby Riddle. And Jack is more practical, and he tells Kevin he needs to focus on his studies. But then one night he begs his dad to take him to the playoffs. So Jack says, "Fine, we'll go to the playoffs, and I'm going to take you there." He enjoys the first half, but Kevin is annoyed when the team loses and is embarrassed when Bobby tells him to leave him alone. And then at the diner, Jack teaches Kevin a valuable lesson he never forgets when he says it's not easy being a hero. And his father's not talking about Bobby, he's talking about himself. And here's the clip at the end, because Bobby was doing very well, but then Jack said, there's a chance they might double up on him in the second half, and, Bobby might get a run for his money. And Kevin gets mad because he feels like his dad has no faith in him and is killing it. But his dad's just like, "No, I just know basketball, and that's a possibility." Well, anyway, that's exactly what happens. They D up on him. Bobby ends up losing the game. And here's what happens when Kevin tries to congratulate his fallen hero.
Somehow I just couldn't quite believe it was over. Besides, I figured we'd stuck together in victory, we'd stick together in defeat.
Bobby? Play a good game, man. It wasn't your fault. They had the whole team right. Besides, you wouldn't have even gotten this far if it wasn't for you.
It was a homage to a guy I really admired. A real hero.
You get off my back, will you, kid?
I'll never forget how I felt at that moment. I wanted to crawl under the floorboards, and I was sure that everyone in that arena had heard. And everyone had. Things were pretty quiet heading home. There wasn't much to say. I'd made an idiot of myself. I knew it. And worse, I knew he knew it too.
Tell you what, there's the diner a few miles up here. If we stop for a cup of coffee.
Sure did.
Why not? I'd always heard coffee went well with Crow. Thing is, I wasn't sure which he was going to do first. trust me for being a snotty-nosed wise guy or gloat about the game?
You know, Kev,
My guess was gloat.
they really didn't play that bad.
What?
Your team. They gave it a pretty good shot, right?
Yeah, they got cleaned.
That Bobby kid, he did okay, don't you think? I mean, good ball handler, up from the corner, that little loopy jump shot.
And that's when I realized he wasn't just going to gloat. He was going to take Bobby Riddle and rub him into me till I...
Look, Dad. In the first place, Bobby stunk, okay? In the second place, he's not that good. He was never that good, okay? So I'm sorry you had to waste your time coming down. I'm sorry about the test. I'm sorry to turn out to be like you. You're funny.
God. You're a hard man to please, you know that?
And then that man, Mr. Pencil Stubs and Alka-Seltzer, Mr. Pay the Bills and Go to Work, said something I'll never forget.
Let me tell you something, Kev. Sometimes you get being a hero.
And I knew he wasn't talking about Bobby Riddle. He was talking about himself.
No. I guess it is.
You know how I knew they were going to double team him? You said 3 minutes. Some heroes pass through your life and disappear in a flash. You know, but the good ones, the real ones, to count, stay with you for the long haul. The thing is, after all these years, I can tell you that what I remember is sitting in that diner, a plate, being young, drinking coffee with the real hero I ever knew. My dad, Jack Arm.
Yeah. That right there was a very emotional scene that I enjoyed. You know, Jim Caviezel just ripping Kevin's heart out. And it's true. Kevin was a hard guy to please. But it's true. It is not easy being a hero. It's really not. Because and the reason it's not easy to be a hero is because when people look up to you or idolize you or admire you, they put pressure on you to be their symbol of perfection. And at the end of the day, human beings were never perfect. No matter who you idolize, no matter who your hero is, he's got problems, just like, or she's got problems, just like you do. What makes them a hero is not the fact that they don't ever have problems. It's how they rise above those problems. It's how they take those negatives and turn them into positives that makes them heroes. I'm sure Bobby Riddle in that moment was mad. But I bet if Kevin gave Bobby some time to cool down, he may eventually apologize for that. Because I know what it's like to be angry in the moment. I remember I lost a wrestling match in controversial fashion where I clearly won. I remember walking to the back and one of my friends telling me, "You'll get it next time." And I just yelled at him to get away. He was trying to calm me down and make me feel better. And I just said, "Get the hell away from me." And I yelled at him. We were on the bus. We didn't talk the whole bus ride. I remember getting off the bus. We got in the locker room. And I walked up to him and I apologized. And because we're both wrestlers and competitors, he forgave me. We shook hands after that. But because he understood that I was angry. Because that's why it's hard to talk to somebody who's an athlete immediately after they lose a fight. Because they're going to end up saying some shit that they don't mean because they're angry. You know, a lot of people, I remember when Lance Goodman came on the show, he kind of described that's what Cam Newton kind of did. Or that's how he behaved. You know, people say he was a crybaby. Well, yeah, he lost in a moment. I'm sure Cam Newton now, with the brand new season started, he's probably over it. But everybody has their moments of anger, and you're not in control of yourself when you're mad, when you're depressed, when you're let down. But what should make Bobby Riddle feel better is knowing that Kevin is still a supporter of his despite the loss. In fact, what helped me get through the day is when I lost that Sponge Guy bloodbath match to Hero 121, despite the loss, I still have fans coming after me, you know, reaching out to me saying, you know, Booch, we're still proud of you. We still believe in you. We're still part of the Booch Nation. We know you did your best. You're still the best guy. We're going to follow everything you do because we believe in you. And those guys get me through those tough times of having to deal with that epic loss that I suffered. And the fact that those fans still support me means a lot because it shows that they're true fans and not just guys who jumped on the Booch Nation bandwagon. Because that's going to be the difference. The people who are falling off the wagon, they weren't true fans. The ones that are still showing me love despite that loss, they're true fans. And I thank you all for that from the bottom of my heart. And on that note, with the time we got left, I'm going to try to play this. This is the very last clip I got. It's called Broken Hearts and Burgers. This is where Winnie becomes jealous of after Kevin got a little too friendly with a waitress. He was just being complimentary. He wasn't like flirting with her or wanting to sleep with her. He just smiled a lot and everything. And Winnie got jealous and insecure. So they don't talk to each other for the whole entire show. Kevin's trying to find ways to make up with her, but can't seem to do it. Finally, Kevin at one point is fed up. And at the end of the evening, Kevin just talks to Winnie and speaks from the heart. And Winnie decides to take him back. And right here, this is the clip of Kevin finally having enough of being annoyed. And he sits there with flashbacks, remembering all the good times him and Kevin Winnie have been through, the good and the bad. And here's what Kevin has to say to Winnie as she finally storms out of the restaurant.
When you're 16, passions run high. A simple misunderstanding becomes a matter of life or death.
Winnie, can we always talk about this? There's nothing to talk about. Winnie, stop. Leave me alone, Kevin.
Sometimes, when you're 16, the only way to get your love back is to take it out.
Fine. You want to go home and go. But I'll tell you this. You don't know how I feel about you, how much I care about you. You don't know anything to say. You're the only girl I ever think about. You're the only girl I ever cared about. The only girl I ever shut up.
And season 5 ended happily ever after. Winnie passionately kissing Kevin and finally forgiving him for what happened, and they're really establishing the relationship. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up this episode of the Boochcast for today. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in live. I want to thank everybody listening to the archives. I want to thank Spacey Christina one more time for being a fantastic guest. I'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. West Coast time with a fun-filled, action-packed episode of the Boochcast, recaps of DFL season finale and TNA Impact Wrestling. Till next time, this is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, saying keep on living life and take care. This has been the Boochcast. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Blog Talk Radio and YouTube.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, and before I go here on YouTube, let me just remind everybody one more time, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel Booch316 for all the Boochcast videos from the past. You can also check out all my great videos. I've got my one-man show, Marta Mia, my appearance at Pro Wrestling School, a skit that I did with Jerry Truman where we were Barack Obama and Joe Biden playing a rousing game of poker. And you can also check out my stand-up performances at the Atlanta Comedy Theater, the Punchline, and the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The McCurdy's video, hopefully, will be coming at a later date. So, also, don't forget, today at 5 p.m. on AdultSwim.com is the season finale of Daytime Fighting League. I'll be making an appearance, a cameo appearance, and in the championship match, it will be Hero 121 versus Blasian Twin 1 to crown the first ever DFL heavyweight champion. So make sure you guys check it out. It's going to be a hell of a show. I'll be back tomorrow to recap the season finale. And, of course, I'll be giving a recap of TNA Impact Wrestling on the Boochcast. So until then, this is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, saying keep on living life and take care. This has been the Boochcast. I'll chat with you guys tomorrow here on YouTube. Until then, pizza, baby.